Hello, everyone. I think this is on. Is it on? You let me know. You're the people that are watching, so you can tell me. I hope everyone's having a good day. I don't know why I said that's so weird. We are going to talk about some Marvel manga today, and I'm actually really excited to be talking about this because I have a lot of thoughts that I can't wait to just cover with you guys. But I'm also really excited because I'm joined by my amazing friend, Sasha, who's going to be here with me today from Casually Comics. Hello.
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 I
Do you
too am
want to?
very excited to talk about Deadpool Manga.
Yeah! Yay! I'm excited. I also feel like Marvel manga is just like a whole, it's like a whole thing. Like some people might not know, but it's it's its own vibe.
It is.
Um,
It's a very
yeah.
different feeling and energy. Same with the DC ones, but the Deadpool manga is special. So
Yes, the Deadpool manga is very very special. It is, I mean, you know what I think it is? I think it's that Deadpool just really fits manga in a unique way where it's like if you're going to take any character from Marvel to put in manga, like what a pick with Deadpool. I just think
I
it's
was
kind of a
surprised,
jackpot.
honestly, by how well it blended and how much I enjoyed some of the elements that I find sometimes a bit worn out
Yeah.
in some of his main comics, but they felt fresh coming at me in the manga.
Yes. Yes. I would agree with this. I would agree with this. Do you want to tell people as well a little bit about who you are before we jump into Deadpool Samurai Volume 1? Also,
I
hello to everyone
suppose.
in chat, by the
Yes,
way.
hi.
I see you all. Hi. You're all saying hi. There's lots of you, so I'm not going to say hi to you individually. These streams, for anyone that's new to these streams, I'll just say before you introduce yourself, Sasha, are more. Who are you? The Chem Talk. Uh, uh, these
Like,
streams are a
why are
little
you?
bit more. Oh, why are you? Yes, perfect. Uh, these streams are a little bit more. We focus a little bit more on the writing, and then kind of what'll happen is like later, if there are super chats, if there are messages you guys have, we'll kind of get that to that later in the stream. So there will be a time for us to discuss after. So please do hold on to that and do keep chatting throughout. Sometimes I'm keeping an eye on you. I'm watching you. So I will pop over to you sometimes, but if I don't respond to everything, that's why. Sasha, introduce
Hello.
you. Hello.
I am Sasha. I'm here from Casually Comics, where we go, as I like to say, wherever the whims take us and talk about a variety of things from old comics, new comics, what's happening right now, what's happening in the Bronze and the Silver Age. Sometimes we are watching shows together, whether people like it or not. Like we're going through Suicide Squad Isekai right now, which has been an interesting experience. I'm on this kick where I'm cataloging some like more horror themed villains, so that's been a lot of fun. So if you're into just checking out random obscure pockets of various comic things, then pop on by because that's what we do. So
I love it. I also love all of it. I have watched a lot of Casually Comics myself, and I will say, if y'all are not ChemDog, Casually Comics, never heard of it. Yes, ChemDog. I'm sure you've never. I think you came over from Casually Comics. I love those. But yes, so if you are someone that is into comics and into everything comic related, whether it's shows, especially animated stuff, you do such cool videos on animated stuff. You should definitely go check out the channel, and you're welcome because you're gonna love it. I already know. Uh, yeah. So also go watch the sad lantern video because that
yes,
video
the new
deserves a million
sorrow
views.
lantern. Sorry, it's deeper than sadness. It's sorrow. But
Sorrow, sorrow lantern, the saddest of all lanterns, the saddest boy. So yes, cool, cool, cool. What was I talking about? We're talking about Deadpool. That's what we're talking about today.
yes.
We're talking about this fabulous weirdness that
And we're
is
we're focusing on volume 1 today because there's a couple, so we're going to hit volume 1,
volume
right?
one, yeah, which is
Yes.
7 chapters total, I want to say. And it is really cool. Actually, there's only 2 volumes of this.
Mhm.
That's it. I feel short. So I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna need to look into that. I already ordered volume 2. So Spoilers in terms of my thoughts on it, but I'll tell you what, I already ordered volume 2, so that's where I'm at. But yeah, we're going to talk about this and kind of go through it. So it is by Sanshiro Kasama and Hikaru Uesugi, are the people that made it. And it's kind of interesting because normally with manga, you have like a mangaka who does both the writing and the art. And in this one, it's split up, which is very Marvel, I would say. When was the run, Raven? That's a good question. The run was 2022, I believe, was when this was released. That's the date on it. So I don't know if we're getting any more of it, guys, because it's been a minute. But we do have some cool stuff that we do have right now, so I can show you that at least, and hopefully we all like it.
I really like the split screen you had going on there.
Oh, yeah, did you like that? Yeah. I wanted to do that for the whole thing, but then I realized we can really only do this for the cover, because then it gets really wide.
Yes, it does. There are lots of actually like 2-page like spreads and stuff going on in here, so.
An impressive amount of spreads, like full page, like, and I have my copy here, and it's like these really nice, where's the first one that they do with the building?
The explosion one? Or, oh yeah, that one's nice.
I love this. I was like, whoa. And I just also love the way everything is played off. It's like the most manga I've ever mangaed in the best way possible. So, could you do it page by page, says Kyle. Yes, that's what we're going to do, Kyle. You got it. You want it. It's happening. That's what we're doing here. Page by page. Yes. I don't know. Angelus, thank you for the outfit, love. I don't know if you mean me, actually, or if you mean Sasha, because honestly, I love your outfit.
Because you've got the full onesie.
I have the onesie, but I'm not gonna last long. This hood's coming off in like 5 minutes. I'm gonna be real with you guys. It's really hot. I don't have air conditioning in my apartment, so I just sweat. So you can already see I'm shiny. That's the sweat. So. Just like Deadpool, I imagine. I imagine Wade is sweaty a lot in his suit.
Oh, all the time.
All the time. So yeah, there's 7 chapters in this, and there's a bonus manga, which something that we've been talking about. I don't know if we're going to do this on your stream, but might lend into a good transition for if we want to do what we've been discussing on your stream.
Yeah, we might. Yeah. I mean, why not?
I mean, if it's like this, I feel like it bodes well. Also, there's going to be X-Men manga that's getting reprinted as well.
Yes.
People that like Marvel manga.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is coming back, which is nice because it's been out of print, some of it, for quite a while.
Yeah, I'm excited to collect that. I think that's going to be really fun. So we start with chapter 1, and it's interesting how we kind of start off here. So obviously Deadpool is here to tell us, this is my series. Classic.
Well, he has the ya boy, which I can't not laugh at because
ya boy. Yeah, that is very Deadpool. And we kind of go to this place where, this is an important scene that we're going to come back to. This is also very manga of like, they're like working on this serum, and it's like, what's this serum about? Like, what's this going on? This is important, so remember the serum, because it's going to come back. Meanwhile, Deadpool is doing his Deadpool stuff out there, murking it up, as he do. Man, thank goodness this is in black and white. I don't think we could get away with this.
Well, all the extra gore, you like the nice, like, jugular spray that they got going on. And it's really funny because lots of the jokes are about how, like, oh, we can't go too hard. And they proceed to go even harder.
Yeah, a lot of the jokes are like, oh, we gotta like keep it PG because it's like Marvel manga, you know what I mean? And yeah, they go pretty hard in terms of the violence, I would say, that's in here. It's pretty graphic, but in a way that is, I don't know, it's kind of nice because sometimes I actually feel like with Deadpool in the comics, they don't go hard enough for what I want from Deadpool. So
I feel like sometimes they do, but sometimes they get kind of the balance of goofy to serious. It's a hard ratio to balance with Deadpool. And I find that this manga actually has a lot of fun with it. And it kind of brings back some of the a bit of the novelty. That may just be because it's putting it into this different setting that's making it feel a little bit more fresh, I suppose, because a lot of the jokes are your standard jokes you would get him making and breaking the fourth wall, but because of how it's breaking the references to like the manga they're in and stuff, it feels a bit more fun, at least to me.
Yes, I agree with that. I think it's like it just fits the style so well, and so many of the things that it's also really fun because like to me Deadpool is also a character who really I see liking manga and I
Yes.
see liking, anime and stuff like that. And I think Deadpool has even referenced this before in the comics. Just like also from DC, Harley Quinn I know is a big manga and anime fan as well.
Then you're running into
So
that overlap about how people say they're very similar to each other. Were you around for that time period when they were both
what?
popping off in popularity and they were
They're
shipped
similar.
together?
What?
The Harley pool, and it got to the point where they actually wrote a Deadpool stand-in into Harley's
Oh
comic called Red
yes.
Tool.
Yes, Red Tool I know about Red Tool,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a
Oh, I
result of
didn't
like,
know that came from people shipping Deadpool and Harley. I just
yeah, there was a
thought
whole like Harley
they wanted
pool
to do
like
a fun
phase.
rip-off of Deadpool, and then they were like, these two might fit together. I didn't know it came from that.
There was like a
Oh,
whole shipping thing that happened.
I, huh. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see some of the similarities. Like, they're both crazy. I think that's where it ends, though, isn't it? They're both crazy, but other than that, they're very different. Sure. And they both like red and black. So, sure. Uh huh. Wow, I'm going to have to think about that.
You weren't
Interesting.
ready.
I was not ready. I did not know about that ship. I knew about Red Tool, but I didn't know that that's why Red Tool basically exists. I do like Red Tool though in Harley. I mean, I don't like them as a couple. I just think they're funny together as like a team up,
Hmm.
I think they're funny. But yeah, so in this we get some very Deadpool moments where Deadpool is just constantly breaking the fourth wall and acknowledging everything that's happening here. And like we had that serum at the beginning of this chapter, this mad scientist uses the serum to turn himself into this big, beefy, almost Hulk like figure that Deadpool has to fight and take out. And that's where it ends,
Or
which,
seems to.
or seems to end, or seems to end. Uh, and then we find out that the chapter is not over yet, which honestly is great because when I was reading this, I actually thought this is where the chapter ended, and I thought, oh, that's really short. It's a really short chapter. So the other thing that I really love is how they really play with that idea, with the meta of the comic, not just within Deadpool breaking the fourth wall, but also just within our own expectations as like a reader and our
Hmm.
own how we read the book, which is just really
Well,
interesting how
well,
meta
there's
it
lots
is.
of references to the idea that you're most likely reading it on your phone, and like referencing the fact that there was the whole like online aspect to it, like
Yeah,
before, and which makes it fun.
yeah, yeah. I think it makes it really fun. I think, yeah, well, because it was in Shonen, so people would be
Hmm.
reading it chapter by chapter as it released. So
Hmm.
all of the things where they talk about like swiping and clicking stuff is like you would be doing that on your phone and flipping your phone, all of that fun stuff
Hmm.
that's referred to. So yeah, Deadpool realizes that the chapter isn't over yet, so he has some more pages where he's got to do some stuff. Um, he's got to figure it out. There's also lots of sexy jokes throughout this, so
Which is
that's
a
the
it's
thing.
a callback to like earlier Deadpool. He doesn't do that so much anymore, but like
Yeah,
90s Deadpool and the like was could be quite raunch.
it could be quite raunch.
Remember the video
However,
game?
yes, the video game. Oh my goodness, Deadpool. Deadpool always so thirsty. You know what I mean? And so there's a little bit of that thirst in here. So if you like that classic Deadpool thirstiness, this manga is probably for you. It's
But
got a
they
good
also
amount of
poke fun at
thirst.
the fact that it's inappropriate. Like they do
Yes,
also reference that he's like, "No, I'm like shonen Deadpool now."
I have to be like wholesome somewhat, you know. I do like that too because it's also that level of self-awareness where it's like we're going to make these jokes and like be kind of raunchy, but we're also going to acknowledge of like, you know, it is 2022. So like not really, because times have changed, but it's still fun. And I actually like, you know, a few raunchy jokes here and there, especially when they're done like this. I feel like it's just the right amount of not too far, just far enough. So they end up having this fight, and of course, this is where we get the beautiful 2-page spread. In the middle of the fight, Deadpool gets a hole punched right through him, and he handles it with his cute. I love the little Hello Kitty kind of Deadpool sticker on his little detonator button as he blows up the building they're in.
It's just such a nice shot.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And they even make a reference to the fact that the assistant is going to have to
draw this whole page with all the details on it.
2-page. And then, of course, you know, when you're reading a manga and you look at something like this, I mean, you're going to look at it for a few seconds, but there's nothing to read on the page. So you're going to flip the page. And then they acknowledge how you flip the page so fast.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite jokes in it, where he's like, "You monster, it took the assistant 3 days to draw that spread."
I love this joke so much. It makes me laugh so hard. I also, because like, I definitely looked at the page and was like, wow, this is really beautiful. Like, this is a really good page. And then I flipped it. And then it's like, I did only spend a few seconds. I actually went back. This made me feel
It made you feel bad.
I was like, I should look at the art more, actually. This is true. Good point. Good point. All the art in this, I would say, is also pretty on point. Speaking of that, I really like it. And after this is all handled, Deadpool gets approached by Iron Man. And
yeah, they did have they had some very interesting jokes in between the fight where they were talking, Iron Man and Captain America, about how like, this is Deadpool more toned down. They're like, no, this is him like on his best behavior, because they need to recruit him for a special squad that they're putting together inside of Japan. Samurai Squad.
Samurai Squad. I love Samurai Squad. What a great name.
It is
but
a good
it's an
name.
official Avengers team, by the way. So, like, fun fact, this is official. But initially, although Deadpool is tempted by the Samurai Squad, he actually turns it down.
Yes,
and then he realizes how much money is involved. And then he says, wait a minute. Actually, I'll definitely join this team. Gonna give you a hug. Definitely gonna join this team with my hug with my one arm, as my other arm's gone right now. Also, Lanique, thank you so much for the subscribe with Prime. I don't think I missed. Did I miss anything else in here? Oh, Lucy just cheered 1,000 bits. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lucy, for the 1,000 bits. Also, hi, Lucy. I think Lucy was here for a second. I saw people saying hi, but I'm sorry that I missed that. Sorry, guys. I try to keep an eye on the Twitch stuff, but like it doesn't show up in StreamYard, so I have to like look on the other screen. So if I ever miss anything, I really appreciate you. And I'm sorry that I didn't shout you out immediately. But thank you so much. Thank you so much. Also, oh my gosh, we reached my bit goal. Yay.
Nice.
Bits accomplished. So that is kind of where we end this one off. I love this part too, where Deadpool's about to tell Iron Man that he loves him 3,000, and Iron Man's like, please stop this. Get me out of here.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of like movie jokes, and like there's a beyond this, like an Into the Spider-Verse joke coming up and the like.
There's a lot of references to everything. Chris, I missed your stream streak. I appreciate all of the streaking that is happening over in the Twitch chat. I think Deadpool would appreciate it too, especially manga Deadpool. So my apologies for missing, but like I said, I can't really keep a close eye on that stuff during these streams. But I got my eyes on the chat. But congrats. Thank you for the streak. Appreciate you. Speaking of the spider stuff, one of the things that I really love here is actually even how they draw the webs in the top left corner as we enter chapter 2. So we are introduced early on to this original character.
Which Deadpool's very disappointed by.
Very disappointed that there's an original character in his manga. He's like, oh boy, it's like the death of like my manga already. Original characters can't even get like Spider-Man in here. We have to go with Sakura Spider. So Sakura Spider is this spider hero that's based in Japan, And this is where we get the fun joke. So as Deadpool arrives in Japan, he has to handle a thief, and it's during this moment that he runs into Sakura Spider, who is also on the samurai squad, and she introduces herself and tries to get right into her story. You know, I was bitten by a radioactive spider, and for the last few years I've been the one and only. And he's like, okay, enough of this.
I also enjoy that he makes fun of the tropes that she's embodying. He's just like, no, we don't need this in this manga.
He's like, nah, we're good. I'm gonna pass on this. You're the hot-blooded heroine type. I also like that. There's like so many references to so many things, I think, is what I really enjoy about this manga in general. There's like manga references, comic references, MCU references.
But they all managed to cobble together and feel relevant. Like throughout all of these, it didn't feel like, oh, that's a reference just for the sake of referencing because it's Deadpool and he references. Like they felt like they fit into what was going on, which I appreciated.
Yeah, it isn't just like being like, well, this is the Deadpool trope and like we have to do the Deadpool trope. I mean, that's the thing that I feel like they handle really well in terms of just understanding the character. It's like we're not doing it for the sake of doing it. We're doing it because it's Deadpool and it fits like
with his characterization. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's happening here. It's like it feels like, yeah, this is what Deadpool would do. Like Deadpool would definitely rip this page and be like, I'm not listening to this origin story again. Like, geez. So right after they meet, they of course then get pulled into this robbery that's happening at a bank. There's like hostages.
Yes.
There's this really great part where when Deadpool's going up, there's a little girl that asks if he's a superhero, and then he's like, "Oh, you want an autograph?" And then he signs the autographs of
the people who wrote the manga.
Mangakas for the story. Yeah, of our writer and our artist. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." Also, just her face after when she gets it.
The disappointment.
So good. The way the faces are all done in this, too, are really great. Especially Deadpool, who I always feel is interesting when people have to draw him because he's always in a mask. So I feel like it can't be easy to create a really good range of emotion with Deadpool. But
you have to get really emotive with the mask. Or like I saw an interview recently where Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman were talking to each other, and Ryan Reynolds was talking about how it's so much what he called clown work, like mime style, like body work. You have to get so exaggerated with all of the expressions and gestures. And I feel like they draw Deadpool that way. Or like there have been some runs like Way's run where they make the mask like super tight to his face, and then it just looks like the expressions come through that, which it varies on how creepy or not that looks.
Yeah, sometimes it can look pretty creepy. This is true. Also Dante, thank you for the hydrate. I see that one. That came up for me. I will hydrate. Also, okay, wait, no, I can see the streaks. Oh, Chris, congrats on your 20 stream streak. And Dante, congrats on your 3 stream streak. There you go. I got it. I can see it in this sidebar. That's so good.
That's huge.
It is. It's my daily water, though. It's 2.2 liters. So, and it's not even the biggest water bottle. Other people in chat have bigger water bottles than me. DiCarlo, I know you have a bigger water bottle than I do. So, you know, this could be bigger. So in this bank robbery situation that we have here, I love that this other part where there's also a bit of swears that happen in this manga, but don't worry because they're censored. So YouTube, it's all good. And Deadpool admits that he was just using the megaphone to swear to test to see like
what they can get away with.
Yeah, in this manga. Immediately gets censored. So clearly the joke is not very much, probably.
Well, they don't need to censor the full frontal joke, so that's fine.
Yeah, the innuendo can stay, as we find out. The full frontal is a fantastic joke, though, where Sakura Spider comes up with this entire plan, and she's like, we're gonna like go around, we're gonna like sneak in, we're gonna surprise them. And she's like, we're not gonna do a full frontal. And Deadpool's like, right, so we're gonna do a full frontal? Got it. Right in. And then we're right into another innuendo joke right after that I really liked as well, which is where they come up here and Deadpool is rushing in, and then they say, you're completely exposed. Yeah, and Deadpool just responds, you pervert, with a little heart. I love that joke.
It's nice because it builds off of the last one, so they're connected.
They're connected. The connected innuendo, which is just what I want, just what I needed in this moment. Also, just all of the explosions, even, and everything that's happening in the fight. Like, just all of the drawings of, like, everyone going off. Like, these fight scenes are freaking awesome. Like, look at this. Like, look at Deadpool getting these bullets right through him.
Matrixing, attempting to matrix poorly.
Matrixing into getting shot by a bunch of bullets, as Deadpool would do. Gosh, that one through your arm would hurt so much, I feel like. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and Deadpool does learn a lesson there. Don't try to dodge bullets. It's not a good idea. Probably not going to work. So we do end up taking out these villains with the team up. Two different ways of approaching this, obviously. Sakura, I feel like, has more of a hero's approach, and, like, you know, I'm going to try to hold people back. I'm going to try to...
Not just straight up potentially murder them.
But Deadpool has his own way of dealing with stuff, which, at the end of this, she is kind of like, maybe next time, like, you should be listening to me. I also love the little girl asking for another autograph because she crumpled
up the first one.
Because I thought it was junk. Oh my gosh. And in this moment, we get kind of a sweet... I like how... Okay, here's the other thing with this manga that's weird, but I love it, is there's actual, like, genuine, like, little cute moments in it.
Mm-hmm.
We're just like, oh, that's just, like, kind of really cute. And I like that.
I enjoyed the relationship that we're about to see that they build up between, like, Deadpool and Captain America, who's just, like, full nice guy Cap in this, which is really cute. But yeah. I have to say, the villain that they introduced in this, I was a bit surprised that they went with that, but pleased. Like, it was a pleasant surprise.
It was a pleasant surprise. Yeah, Deadpool kind of realizes he's kind of into this stuff because he kind of likes being a hero.
Which is sweet.
It is sweet.
I like how the Juggernaut's drawn in that upper corner.
I know. Nice I also really love... Oh my goodness, sorry.
I know, it's the Kindle experience.
The Kindle experience. Man, every time I have to go into Kindle to read something, I'm like, man, I really...
You remember. It's like...
Yeah. I'm like, remember when we used to have a better system? But yeah, I mean, this is the stuff that I was going back in this today and taking a look at it and just, like, picking out some moments that I really liked. And I was just like, how is this only 2 volumes? Like, do we ever get to see this Juggernaut? Is he ever going to show up? I don't know. I must read volume 2 to find out. Spoiler, he doesn't show up in this one other than in that panel, which is still good. But yeah, it makes me want to see more people, honestly, and I think Dormammu's in the back there, just chilling.
Yeah, with Hela.
Quite the lineup. But that's not who we're getting for the villain in this story. In this story, we are getting none other than the God of Mischief, Loki, who
has great nails. I know that's a really weird thing to be fixated on, but I was like, wow, he got his nails did, and they look nice.
He did. DiCarlo, thank you so much for the Gigantify and emote for the 30 bits. Oh my gosh. Jeff the Land Shark. Guys, at San Diego Comic-Con, there's going to be an exclusive Jeff the Land Shark plushie. And as much as I love my Jeff the Land Shark, who is, of course, very near and dear to my heart, this one is the pool party Jeff. He's got
Is it the same size?
I don't know. I don't know what size he's going to be. He looks the same size from the photos, but there's no, like, you know, I need, like, a
dimensions
thing. Could be this big for all I know, but it's like, I think it's going to be about this size, and it comes with Jeff with the little, like, pool floaty on from It's Jeff Infinity comic. So I need that in my life. So yes, Jeff's in chat. For the people that got him, if you got Jeff's, throw him. Gently, please. So yeah, I agree. I think Loki has great nails. I think I like this look just in general.
Yeah, I like it. This is how he's, like, done in the manga style. I like it.
Yeah, I think it suits him. And I love the way they do his eyes in this too, actually. Like when he's hypnotizing people too, he has, like, the hypno eyes.
Which I love because it's such a callback to his first appearance where he was
Yeah.
running around hypnotizing everybody.
Hypnotizing everybody back in the day. Oh, and you know what? I'm listening to, this is a tangent, but I'm listening to the What If Loki Was Worthy audiobook right now.
Okay. Hmm.
And he also is like really into hypnotizing people. And I'm like, man, this is so classic. Classic Loki. So yes, Loki is revealed to be this villain, but he doesn't quite show up yet to deal with our heroes. But he has a very interesting tactic as to how he wants to deal with Deadpool that I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on. And in the end, they announce that yes, they are called the Samurai Squad, and Deadpool keeps trying to introduce himself as Spider-Man and tries to like fit into the spider vibes, and Sakura Spider seems very offended by this. And in the end, he still gets to squeak in that that they shouldn't worry and it's all good that they helped out and everything, because with great power comes great responsibility. So he gets to fit that one in. And that's the end of chapter 3. So then we move, or chapter 2, then we move into chapter 3. And chapter 3, more of this serum flying around as well. Starts off with a reveal of, yes, finally, Loki is here. Oh my gosh, all the Jeffs in chat. Thanks, guys. You did it. I appreciate it. Chemdog is saying Loki appreciates a good mani-pedi. This is true.
I mean, don't we all?
I honestly feel like Loki would be very at home in a spa. I could definitely see that. He feels like a very fancy person, you know? He is a prince, after all, and I think that he rocks that as much as he can. So Loki shows up and reveals himself, and his plan is to recruit Deadpool. That's basically what he wants to do. I also love how we get the little card for him down the side column here in the gutter.
And they take a shot at editor's notes, which I laughed out loud at, where they're like, the weird thing about American comics is you need these notes to understand.
Yeah, it was a good shot. And I was talking about this the other day, this idea of the difference between manga and comics, because at the end of the day, a manga is basically a comic and a comic is basically a manga. They're very similar in terms of what they do and what type of media they are, but they are different in terms of stylistic choices, and then also I think to a certain extent accessibility. It's going to be like a whole video I'm going to talk about, like the accessibility of comics versus manga. But one of the things is that because we have continuity that has gone on forever, whereas manga, although some of them do go on for a long time, they are contained to one story. That's why we need our editor's notes, and I just loved that reference because I was like, yeah, that is.
Well, in all fairness, also they're more clearly labeled in runs, especially time of recording. There's been a lot of stopping and restarting and stuff, so it can be a bit difficult. Like you can't even put a note that just says like Batman #3. You have to be like volume 7, #3, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Be that as it may,
I always go back to ones, which is another thing that is a problem for accessibility for.
It can be difficult. My thing is that I love a good editor's note. I think they're so important. I'm like, more of them, but also I think the mentality of the idea of how you're supposed to access comics is a bit different. I think there does need to be a bit of a mentality of that you can just jump in and that some of the stuff you're going to have to figure out. I feel like that's just a bit part of it, that you're not going to know everything right away, and that's okay. That there are going to be some people here like, I don't know who that is, and that's fine. I'll figure it out. Like hopefully the book will give you enough in its context for them to make sense there, and then if you like it, then hopefully you'll be like, now who's the huntress, or like whoever it was that you didn't know like who they were, and then you can go and branch out and hopefully explore more of the interconnected larger universes, which is what I love about the idea of the universe being interconnected in the first place.
Yeah, I would say I agree with that. Like that's kind of what I say when it comes to. It's hard, right? Because it's like we're also very much in comics. So I also
we're
acknowledge
deep. We're deep in,
when people are like, how accessible is this? I have to like try to remove myself from everything that I know and like imagine like if I knew nothing.
Yeah, and just showed up and this was like the first thing. How would it be?
But that's where I also agree, where what I try to tell people when they want to get into comics and they're looking for a place to start and they're feeling overwhelmed is like that idea of just tabling kind of some of your expectations, where I'm like, you don't need to understand every single thing about every single character to get into comics. But sometimes people put that on themselves of like, if I don't understand everything that's happening in this, I have like failed at reading the comic. And I'm like, no, that's not true. There are times when I read comics and things happen and I go, wait, what? Like, with the knowledge I have, I don't understand, because maybe there's something I missed, or maybe it's something that's like happened years ago and I just haven't read that like one issue this thing happened in. I mean, so that's part of the beautiful journey of comics, but it is also can be overwhelming for a lot of people. And where manga I think is really good is like, usually you don't need things like these fun editorial notes that they've added in the gutter columns. And I mean, honestly, the hilarious part too is that I love that they have it there, but it's also like one of those things of like, it's so funny because it's also a note that like you definitely wouldn't even need.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's redundant because like he already introduced himself.
He's like, I'm Loki. And then they're like, by the way, he's Loki. And this is who Loki is, in case you don't know. So he introduces himself. And yeah, he's a god. This is true. And his whole plan here is to fight Deadpool. And then ultimately, though, what he wants to do after shapeshifting into a bunch of people is to recruit Deadpool into his ultimate villain organization.
Because Deadpool's not really a hero, not deep down inside.
Also, I kind of love this because it's such a classic Deadpool theme. Like, just this idea of this want of Deadpool who's like, I want to be a good guy, but like, am I a good guy? And like, what makes someone a good guy? And, you know, I've done bad things, but like, does that mean I'm a bad person? This is like something that you always find in Deadpool. And I feel like it's at a big core of like kind of who Deadpool is as a character. So I loved that.
There's an inherent angst to Deadpool that sometimes can get buried or lost, but there are a lot of sad elements to the character as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of sad elements, and this is playing on them, but not in a way that's too heavy.
No,
it's still manga. It's well, and it's not really sad manga, you know? Like, you can read manga that's depressing like that and like really makes you cry about everything. But this manga is trying to still keep the lightness of Deadpool, which I appreciate. Also, Amusing Streamer, congrats on your 5 stream streak, and also I hope your stream went well. Thanks for streaking on in from your own stream. I hope it was a good one for you. And yeah, so he tries to recruit him, but Deadpool's like, nah, I can't do that, because if I do that, I'm not gonna be on the Jump Festa convention signs, because I need to be like a good guy to like get on the sign. So that's,
and the attention you get is better as a hero. So
way better. He's gonna get
it's nicer.
It's nicer attention. So he's got to turn Loki down. So then Loki's like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to beat you up. But Deadpool has a great, just, you know, and I was trying to explain this story to someone. I was explaining to them like what this story is like, and they were like, this story sounds like wacky. And I'm like, it's so wacky. It's so wacky. Deadpool's way of dealing with it is that he reveals to Loki that he's planned a party.
And he invited all the Avengers.
Yeah. A welcome to Japan party for him. I also love his invite here that we get to read.
Yes.
Where he says the fee to attend the party is $600,000 to be collected at a later date. So they don't have to bring it with them.
And that attendance is mandatory.
Mandatory, all caps. All caps. And I also love how quickly this works. Where Loki's like, well, okay, I guess I'll leave for now, because I mean, I don't want to fight all the Avengers, so that would be pretty awful. So fair enough. I'll go. And right after he goes, oh yeah, and he also, you know, does give him the good old villain glare, and he's like, you're gonna regret this, though. I'm gonna get you. Everyone responds and tells Deadpool
no,
they can't make it. They're just, yeah,
but they don't want to.
I love Iron Man. You're welcome for the precious time I'm spending RSVPing. No, Tony, please.
Honestly, though, that's a good. There's nothing worse than when people don't RSVP. So,
I mean, it's good that they at least responded, and at least, yeah, Iron Man was willing to give him the time of day to say, no, I'm not coming to your party. That's not happening. So then we go into, there is one person that decides to show up, and of course is Captain
Nice
America.
guy Cap.
Nice guy Cap. I love the way Cap is drawn here. It makes me
so wholesome.
Look at his like beautiful eyes. Like I can just imagine the blue of his eyes in this black and white manga.
You can feel like the hope emanating from around him.
Captain America. And I also love how thirsty Deadpool also tries to hit on Cap for coming to his party, and offers to kiss him, and just Cap's, the way his face is drawn in this bottom panel, the big frowny face, just being like, my heart belongs to someone else. I can't do that. It's not happening. But I can hug you. That's the thing I can do, because I'm Captain America. I'm the nicest man you ever met. Also, what's up with this disguise that he wears at the... Is this a
I think it's the party. It's like it's because they're partying.
Oh,
it was a welcome party.
Oh, I see. So that's his party. Oh, right. He's wearing a party hat and he's wearing silly glasses.
He's got like a Groucho Marx like glasses thing going on his face.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, that once the party is done, it's time to talk about business. And the business is they need new members for Samurai Squad. They do not have enough members. Right now it's just 2. And
you're not a proper squad with only 2 people.
Not a proper squad with
you're
only
a duo.
2. Now we have to fight Loki. So Captain America's like, well, if we're going to fight Loki, then, we're going to need more people. Although Deadpool's thought is maybe we just like give up Japan and just like admit defeat to Loki. But Cap's like, no, we should recruit more people, and maybe we could find someone that people know so we can gain more like prominence for the team. Maybe we could get like an idol to join the team. Perfect transition to an idol. Dawn is saying, Dazzler. Well, similar vibe, but also very different vibe.
Yeah, there's an upcoming panel that like genuinely it took me aback, like in a good way. But I'll see if you agree when we get to that one.
This one.
This one that panel was a lot. I was not ready. I mean, I really liked it. I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting it to go that hard.
It went pretty hard. So this is Neiro. She's an idol. Neiro, something Akatabi, I want to say, or something like that, I think is her name. Did I write it down? I didn't write her last name down. I only wrote her first name down. But they do say it in the comic. She is an idol in Japan, a pop star, and she gets creepily approached. There's a lot of people being really creepy in this, to the point that you're like it's really funny that they make all these jokes of like, what can we get past the censors? Because yeah, like you said, there's stuff in here where I'm like, wow, okay, we're just gonna go there. All right. So she has a fan that's so obsessed with her that he basically wants them to like die together.
Well, I think what was even odder is like the characterization they give her and her backstory and just the way that she handles this, aside from eating the guy,
is just wild.
It's odd. It's very odd.
It's the most bizarre. It's wild. I loved it. I was like, this is so weird. Neiro Aratabi. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, DiCarlo. Yes. Neiro Aratabi. That is her name. She's pretty cool, and also, yeah, very bizarre. I'm very curious to see what the characterization for her becomes in volume 2, honestly. Like, because we kind of just get introduced to Neiro here, and we get a bit of her backstory, but we don't really get to know like too much about her character. And I have questions. So many questions. So yeah, she eats this guy because she's also Venom. And later though, she chastises. Also, I love how there's just character profiles throughout the manga as well. There's just character profiles everywhere.
They remind me a lot of the ones they had in Cable and Deadpool. Just this type of pinup. They would have pages like this in between when the characters first showed up, which were a lot of fun. There's a couple of really sarcastic ones in this manga that I appreciate. There's
some really good ones. I love how Deadpool here too is like, there's nothing even new in here. Like, this is all stuff people already know. Like, what even is this character profile? Criticizing his own profile. I imagine Wade would be like, I want some really random facts about me in my profile. That's probably what he would have wanted. So she chastises Venom after, because even though Venom spat this guy back out, and they survived, she is upset because she doesn't want Venom ever eating her fans.
Even if they're trying to kill her, because it doesn't matter, because that fan thought she was cute. And that is paramount over all things.
Yep. That is the strangest conversation. I was like, I'm sorry, what? I mean, granted, I feel like Venom's reaction is also like our reaction as the readers. Like, we're like, what? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love Venom's response here. She also then says to like punish Venom, she's gonna confiscate the symbiote's chocolate.
Yes, because we're getting some Venom movie vibes going on here.
Venom movie vibes, Venom deep cuts about the whole like whatever it is in the chocolate, the what's it called? The phenylsethylamine or whatever we call that substance that your brain also produces when you're in love. It's a chocolate that was established in the comics, and then the movie really ran with that. Man, did they run with that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love that. And then I love how Venom's response is, "Girly, you're the furthest thing from cute." It's like, and I'm like, I am very inclined to agree with Venom here. You seem like a completely insane person.
You're like, cuteness comes from within.
Yeah, cuteness is within, girl. But maybe that's a lesson that Neiro will learn in her arc that is already
because she has the most backstory out of all of them. They like stop to give her a whole flashback.
You know what? It's because Deadpool isn't. I mean, actually, when they do at first try to give her the flashback, Deadpool does stop it. Yeah, sorry, the Kage symbiote. You are right, DiCarlo. The Kage symbiote is what it's called in this.
Because it's Japanese for shadow, as they helpfully point out in editor's note that they don't sass.
Yes. Japanese for shadow. So that is a symbiote we have here. Although it also needs the same substances as Venom, which I guess maybe all symbiotes do. I'm not entirely sure on that though, because Venom is also a very unique symbiote when you think about it. In a lot of ways in the comics. So she is a concert, and there is some ominous person in the audience who turns out to be Deadpool, and they're basically there to, I think, try to recruit her.
Yes, and they don't have a great strategy for how they're going to go about this. It doesn't help that Sakura is a huge fangirl of her.
Yeah, so she's trying to be like really chill, but she's like really struggling. Yes, that is what it is. Phenylethylamine. I always feel like I'm saying it wrong, even when I say it right. Riboflavin? Riboflavin's a great one. I don't think symbiotes need that one, but, you know, honestly, we all need more riboflavin in our lives, so maybe they do. So they don't have this great tactic for how to get her recruited, but they kind of end up getting pulled into something anyways that involves her, which is, man, here we go. We're going to get into the weird flashback, aren't we?
So, you don't get the whole thing. We just get the beginning of the mystery of why did she care so much about people thinking she's cute.
And then when she says, "Mama, am I being an ideal daughter?" I was like, what's that about? and then just how the Kage symbiote is like, this again? I'm like, this again? What is this? That's when Loki busts through though. So right when we'd probably be about to get that backstory, gets interrupted by Loki busting through the wall or through the door. Man, that door is scromped in that bottom panel. I just noticed that. Wow, that door is messed up. And Loki wants to recruit. Everyone wants to recruit everyone. This is the recruitment book. Volume 1, Deadpool Samurai. Who can we recruit? Let's recruit them. So Loki also wants to recruit her because she has a symbiote, but she is not interested.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have to try that hard because he says that he's a fan.
Well, yeah,
And
that's also true. That's also true. Yeah. He's like, I'm a fan. And she's like, okay, like
that's why I
whatever you
broke
want.
your door down. It's fine.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. Like, that's cool. You're a fan. And then he puts a mind control collar on her, and plays a certain frequency to control the symbiote.
Because we get a bit more into what he's looking for here. It's that, Japan's mortal stole something precious from me. And so for my revenge, I'm going to ruin Japan. I'm like, that seems a bit intense, but okay.
That seems
It
very
matches
intense.
the proportion of megalomania
that we're building in this story in terms of where Loki's at, with his big eyes.
I really
He's,
love the shadowing on him in that one panel.
yeah,
It is
in that one
genuinely
panel,
menacing.
yeah, it looks so good. Honestly, Loki is pretty menacing throughout this comic, even being kind of silly. He's like silly, but still like hecka scary. I also love how like they made him feel so tall. Like he feels
Yes,
so
like he's big. He's taking up
he's like,
space. He's imposing.
yeah, he's like godlike in the panels, which is of course very fitting. Um, so we see them trying to sneak through in their disguises to go recruit her, but unfortunately, it's a little too late because we already got this awful thing that's happening with Loki, who's mind controlling Neiro, and
Who has a very dark joke that they push back on here, which is, "I'll put your body to good use." And Deadpool's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa."
yeah, Deadpool's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
He's like, "That's super inappropriate."
That's super inappropriate. That line is super inappropriate. Any more of that, and we'll be hearing from angry parents. We have to stop him and fast. The urgency extends beyond the actual immediate danger in this story. It's now expanding out into the meta. Deadpool's like, you can't get me canceled right now. I can't have that. This is volume 1. Anyways, obviously it didn't work out because they did only make it to volume 2, so I don't know. Maybe that's because the angry parents. It was too late. So then from here, Deadpool does end up getting involved, and so does Sakura Spider, and we also get this kind of weird fastball special that I wasn't expecting to get. I never know where this is what I like about it as a manga too, because I feel like some of my favorite manga stories are always ones where I never know what's about to happen next. Like I'm always surprised, and this was surprising to me. I was not expecting for Sakura to wind up Deadpool to throw him so they could get to where Loki was. But here we go. And there he goes. He flies and unfortunately crashes into the glass.
But which he's like, it normally breaks.
Yeah, normally these shatter. I see the window manufacturers have improved their skills, he says. But it does. It just takes a second. And in that 1 second, I just also love this part, how he lands on... Also, how does he land on Loki like this? Like,
there is no way that he could get into the teabag position from the way he fell through this window.
This is like some sort of crazy... Oh, Scribbles, thank you so much for the hydrate. Sorry, I missed that. That was 9 minutes ago. Ooh, we got a posture check and a stretch.
We're getting dangerously close to barely disguised fetish territory.
Yes. So he I think this is a superpower of Deadpool, actually. I think Deadpool can at all times get into a teabag position at any point. No matter where he is, he always finds the teabag position. So yeah, somehow from being like this, his feet come up from, I don't know, and where Loki is, I don't know how he came in front of Loki, but he comes in front of him and he lands on him.
The detailing on that panel as well. Like I laughed out loud. I was like, they put so much like loving detail into this full page.
Oh my goodness. I also love Loki's reaction where he's like, damn, I was careless.
What is this feeling?
What is this feeling? And Deadpool's just like, that's humiliation, baby. Bam. Oh my goodness.
Oh, the fact that they linger on it for so long that you get the down view and everything.
It's like weirdly perfect. This is a couple perfect pages for me. And then we get another, of course, nice little character profile with Sakura Spider here. And yeah, that's where chapter 5 starts. Also, what a way to end a chapter. Can we just talk about that? So you'd be reading this and you'd be like, oh, I guess that's the end. Loki gets teabagged. Oh, I would agree with this, $10. Worth the price of admission, indeed. This could all be yours online for $8 digitally, I think is what I paid Canadian. And I think the volumes are like 12. So very affordable. Another thing I think that sometimes makes a difference between, I mean, you could maybe argue this, but between manga and comics is I would say manga is a little bit more price point friendly than
Well,
comics.
you got more when you get a volume.
Yeah. Although you could compare these to more like trade paperbacks, which are bigger. So you're getting more like of a spread of art. But
and then also like, the color versus black and white for people who have that preference as well.
Yes. So you do get like the bang for your buck, but it's just like, you know, you can get like 7 chapters for like $12. That's pretty good. It's not color, but it's pretty good.
But I mean, but you still have all these loving like shadowing and details. I love that they end it and open it on this. Like, this is just how important this is to what's going on.
So like, anyways, back into the story. So Loki's getting teabagged. And so the fight continues, and Loki is down to dance with Deadpool, and he fires eye beams here, which I didn't know was a thing that Loki could do, but in this manga, he can. I don't know if he's ever fired eye beams before. Not that I can think of. And Deadpool gets blasted off. And,
I really enjoy how they draw the symbiote in this.
I also enjoy that. I think, like, there's something that feels like, one, he's chonky. I like that the symbiote's chonky, but I also like that there's like a fluidity about this symbiote, and there's also something that's kind of like amorphous about it. Amorphous, is that what I want to say?
No, amorphous, yeah.
Yeah, it feels blobby in a good way. What a weird way to describe something. This feels very blobby. That's very good. I'm very satisfied. Yeah, amorphous. Okay, it is amorphous. Okay. Chat's like, yeah, amorphous is correct. So we get this Loki coming back at him. Venom
hit with his hypno eyes.
Kage's also now getting involved. Yeah, hit with the hypno eyes. Maybe that's what it is. You know, maybe the eye beams are a part of the hypno eye power set in this universe. Yeah. It's like, I can hypnotize you and I can kill you with my eyes. We're just expanding on it. And Loki is hypnotizing people so that they don't get involved in this fight because they are in the middle of an office building. Honestly, this felt kind of respectful to the people that were in the building today. So it kind of seems actually nice. And the fight falls down into an arena that is fortunately very abandoned right now. Perfect for this fight.
No, they even pointed out, they're like, wow, no audience either.
No audience. No, nothing. Wow, this is going to be a good spot to have a fight and break everything. I feel like the top left corner of this page too is like just so good. Like the detailing and just getting to see Neiro underneath Kage and like how her eyes are like bugged out and she's like clearly hypnotized and controlled, but there's this panic behind her eyes almost. It's horrifying. This is like, I was looking up some of the stuff that these people have worked on before I jumped on the stream. I didn't get to have like a detailed look, but I have to imagine that Uesugi has done some kind of horror stuff before, or if not, like, I want to read that because I just love the way that this stuff is drawn. It is very spooky. Oh, here we go.
Yes, the flashback.
Yeah. The build into it is that Loki is kind of monologuing a bit and is like Deadpool's like, how did you convince her to do this? And Loki's like, oh, I just appealed to her like actual nature because she's pretty villainous when you think about it. And then he talks about how she has to have like a pretty twisted past. Cut to.
And then, but this is going to try and counter that. That's the thing, is that this is supposed to be like the no, but he was wrong because she has this sweet. I feel like this is supposed to be sweet and like, or like not awful, but
yeah, it's supposed to be. It's just weird, is what it is.
It's
like,
supposed to be like her rationalizing, how awful her mother was being treated. Like she's trying to find a way to like
be like, no,
deal with it.
Cute for my mom. Like it's not that I'm selfish and I want to be loved. I'm doing it for my mom. This is a weird backstory, and I really like it. Also, thank you, Angelus, for the hydrate. She feels bad that her mom is basically ugly.
And so everybody makes fun of her mom for being ugly, and because her daughter's so beautiful, and how could someone so ugly have this beautiful daughter? And they cut the flashback here for a bit before we can come back to it to reveal what's supposed to be our reveal later on of what it means. So
before we get back to this part's weird.
This part also was an odd segue that kind of felt like it came out of nowhere, because they're having this fight and all of a sudden they're like, no, but I got this citizen from the stadium who's going to take over the mind control because I have other things.
This is pretty cool. Matt Krenz is saying, before working on the Deadpool manga, Uesugi worked on a short-lived manga Patch Quest that's about a zombie boy from the looks of it, and contributes to a Made in Abyss anthology manga series. So there you go.
They did mention Patch Quest in this. It's in one of the notes that Deadpool talks about. Yeah. He's like, oh, this guy's last manga was called Patch Quest, where they're making fun of the name, like Samurai Squad.
Yeah. So. Oh my gosh, you're right. That's so cool. That's awesome. Well, there you go. A little bit of the history there of Uesugi's stuff before Deadpool Samurai. This little interlude is, we get the fan that is decided to team up with Loki, because Loki said that after he's done with Neiro, that the fan can have Neiro, a mind-controlled Neiro, to basically do whatever he wants with.
Yes.
Which is like, Deadpool is really not about this. That's where he's like, yeah, I'm a wholesome guy, okay? Yes. Save this for an adult manga, maybe? Does not belong in my manga. And he's not taking any of this. So they end up getting into this fight, but first got to deal with Kage a little bit more. We go through, and it's this 2-on-1 fight. It's not going great for Deadpool, but he's hanging in there, even with one arm.
I love that panel so much.
With the one on the left?
Yes, just the giant like Kage with like the extra cake on it for some reason, but then all like the tentacles in the back muscles, everything.
A lot of cake. I know. I noticed that too. I'm like, man, that symbiote has a booty. Where'd that come from? I like also just like, all the tendrils running down, like how it's like globby again. It's
got almost really like a liquid like texture to it.
Yeah, you can almost like see the texture of what the symbiote would be like, which is pretty cool. So Deadpool's way of handling this, by the way, is that he plans on calling in the band. He's gonna get a band together so that he can play music to
the Sonics. We're gonna do the vibration thing.
The vibration thing. We do the vibration thing. Ben Chan says he also has major back abs.
He does.
Ben, you were correct. Major back abs.
Every day is back day. So
every day. Look, when you're a symbiote, every day is back day. Every day is every muscle group ever day, I think. They're so jacked. How do they get so jacked? Maybe on Clintar, everyone's born jacked. Maybe that's just how it is. I don't know. So Deadpool's like, I'm gonna get a band together and we're gonna defeat this. And then Deadpool's like, we're gonna play some music. We tried to do it before and we didn't have the budget, but now we're ready. We have the budget. It's gonna happen. Here's the dangerous creep
A
character
dangerous
profile.
creep.
Yeah. And he's like, so get ready because this is coming. And then we cut to chapter 6. And in chapter 6, we start off by him being like, I got the Deadpool band together. And as they're about to get ready to play, it turns out that the Deadpool band just broke up. So they can't do that. But fortunately, the feedback from Deadpool dropping the mic in frustration at that news equals Sonics that we need to do what we need to do here. We get this. I love this actually as well. This page. So yeah, as Deadpool says, he's warning us that we're about to get ready with a 2-page color spread. Wow. But of course, the color would have to be black because Kanye's a symbiote. I love that, and I love how Deadpool's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. Like symbiotes are black."
And then he's like, the graphic novel's gonna be in black and white anyway.
It doesn't matter. That color spread would have never made it anyways. So that is we've weakened Kage enough to kind of shake some of the brainwashing, the mind control that's happening here. And this is where Neiro does her thing again, where she's like, don't hurt him. He's my fan. He thinks I'm cute. Stop. And then I think this is where we get back into the
yeah, this is where we explain why she's like this.
So important. Why is she like this? Are you ready for the big reveal, chat, for why she's like this? It's gonna be crazy, right? It's gotta be some big emotional thing that's like deep and means a lot of things. And it's her mom wants her to be really cute.
Yeah, her mom tells her that she's happy when people say that her child is cute and that she doesn't feel sad that they're calling her ugly or making fun of her, but instead that she feels
raising her child.
That she feels happy that people are saying nice things about her daughter instead. And this is obviously just supposed to like comfort this poor girl who's traumatized by all these horrible people saying atrocious things about her mom all the time.
So that's why Neiro always wants to be the cutest, because to her, she's making her mom happy every time someone calls her cute.
Every time really some unhinged person comes at her with a knife saying she's cute, she's making her mom happy.
She's like, no, I have to let them just be how they are with their weird creepy ways, because they call me cute, and that's all that matters. It is a weird story, and I also feel like in a weird way it is like kind of sweet in a very bizarre, creepy way, I guess.
I'll never let a fan of mine come to harm, no matter how awful they are.
No matter how awful they are. I love that. I see. What an admirable familial love. And in response, Deadpool just shoots this guy up. And she's like, it doesn't look like I got through to you at all. Because you just shot that guy up. And Deadpool's like, look, we can't let him go because it's too dangerous, because this guy's awful. Like, I understand your thing, but like, kind of doesn't matter because this guy's the worst. But she really believes in her fan. So even though he was super creepy, and literally his profile card says
a dangerous creep.
Is a dangerous creep. She doesn't care. She's like, no, if I tell him not to do it again, he won't do it again. Anyways, he's immediately thinking about how he's
that she's an idiot and he's definitely going to do it again. Like, he's still doing it because he still has the control thing that other people forgot about briefly.
Yeah, and so in that moment,
and he even says, but here's the thing. He says, I was never her fan to begin with, which is going to give us some justification because, he wasn't a real fan.
He wasn't a real fan. We're about to find out how little of a real fan he is as well. He's like, I'm going to take my chance. I'm going to wait for the right moment, and then I'm going to like get in there and grab her. And at that moment, Sakura finally gets in. Obviously, she sent Deadpool ahead, but she's been just on foot, I guess. Or, on web finger climbing up walls. And she gets in there and she says that she's pretty excited to see Neiro. She's like, crying and like losing her mind. Um, and in the end, it seems like we've kind of handled the situation. Uh,
No, Sakura's
Deadpool's
even happy that he
yeah,
didn't kill him. She's like, wow.
yeah, yeah. He's like, look, that's our villain of the day, and she's like,
He's like, but
wow,
I'm shonen manga pool now, and he doesn't kill. There's
he
only
doesn't
2 pages
kill.
left anyway.
Aw, yeah, and I love how she's just like Deadpool, so good. Um, and yeah, in the end though, she reveals that he's a notorious ticket scalper. Unfortunately, Deadpool has some very passionate feelings about ticket scalpers. So
I laughed out loud when this
so did
panel
I.
happened.
I laughed out loud and I was like, thanks, Deadpool. Because it's true. Ticket scalpers do suck. Like, why do they suck so much? They really do suck.
I loved it. It was such a good payoff for the whole like I'm good Deadpool now. I'm shonen Deadpool, and then just shoots him right in the head.
I think chapter 6 is actually my favorite chapter in this volume. The pacing, everything, the jokes, the way it's brought back around, and just the resolution here, it's so hilarious. It's like just even the whole idea of everything that's happening in here and the weird flashback we get from Neiro, priceless. It doesn't get better than that. Ticketmaster strikes again, says Chemdog. Ticketmaster was the true villain all along. You thought it was Loki, but no, it's Ticketmaster. So then we get into chapter 7, and chapter 7 is pretty cool because it's one of those in medias res chapters. So unlike the last where we pick up with the teabagging, this one they were like, oh yeah, we're not going to come back to this moment. We made that joke, and that joke is
It's done. We're
not,
moving on.
Yeah, it's not like teabagging. You can't get multiple chapters out of it. So we go into chapter 7, and chapter 7 we start in the middle of a fight, and then Deadpool rewinds it for us to help us figure out why this is all happening. And what we oh yeah,
but he goes too far back briefly. He's like, oh no, wait, we'll save that for the bonus pages.
He's like, oh wait, whoops. We'll come back to this. And it's just, I love how it's just Spider-Man like tied up. It's like, wait, what's happening with this? So anyways, we get back to where we should have finished, which is Neiro ends up getting freed from the control collar by Bruce Banner, why does Bruce Banner look so handsome?
I was thinking that too. I was like, wow, they went all out with like cute Bruce Banner.
Why is Bruce Banner the cutest? I also love how Bruce Banner seems to have some, would you say self-esteem issues? Just him being like,
it's like they're really putting down the Bruce aspect of him. It's like, well, I mean, it's not like I'm the Hulk or anything.
It's not like I'm the Hulk. You know, this is really all I can do is science. And I mean, yeah, I freed you from a mind control collar. I guess that's, but you know, I'm no Hulk. At least they made him cute. I guess that was what they said. They were like, you know, we're gonna make him kind of like have major self-esteem issues, but he's gonna be hot. That's Bruce's thing for some reason. He's hot, but he doesn't see himself as being the real winner here. He's like, Hulk is where it's at, and I'm not Hulk, but I don't think they could have gotten Hulk for the manga. I think that must be what's happening because
you only ever see like from the back or things like that, things that you could with plausible deniability be like, that's not the Hulk.
That's not the Hulk. No one would know who you are from the art alone. I love how Deadpool says that. Your character art design, as like just Bruce, is so generic. No one would know who you are from the art alone. So I wonder if maybe they're not even allowed to use Bruce, but they're like, we'll just sneak it in there because like maybe no one will notice. They definitely can't use Hulk though, I think, because they really refuse to use Hulk. Bruce is just very even-tempered here. He just never gets angry. It's pretty great. Pretty impressive.
He's very calm. He's worked on his issues.
Ben, this is a good point. Ben is saying, I think they went Eric Bana with him. I could definitely see that, actually.
I have not thought about that movie in a long time.
I haven't either, but, like, now that I think about it, like, Eric Bana as the Hulk, like, I need to go back.
Ang Lee Hulk. That's a flashback.
It is, but he does kind of look like him. He kind of has that look. Yeah, I definitely see it. Oh my. Okay, well, now I'm going to be thinking about that movie. Hmm. Thank you. I think
Yeah, but
something
are you
like that.
thinking about it enough to rewatch it? That's the question. Probably not.
I I sometimes go back to that movie, not to rewatch the full movie, just to go back for scenes. There's just certain scenes that I'm like, did I really watch this? And then I watch it and I'm like, I did really watch this. Wow. I was in the movie theater when that movie came out. I was on a date. That was a weird date. That's what I'm going to say about that. Um so yes. So the the fact that Loki is putting Neiro's fans in danger, she cannot accept that. So she ultimately decides to join up with the samurai squad and help them out. And Sakura is very moved by her dedication to her fans. Uh, and we also get a bit of Kage backstory, which is interesting. Um, about how Kage was found in a forest and had amnesia.
Just trying to
And
get memories back.
yeah, and it's just basically hitching a ride to try to figure out who he is. And then once he figures that out, he's out of here, apparently. I also love how Kage kind of feels like a pet a little
Hmm.
bit. Like Neiro being like, oh, okay, want some chocolate, Kage? Kage? I was like, that is. Why is this so weirdly cute? Uh, so, uh, So the fact that people are thinking ahead to where they're going to go for the next series of chapters also is bothering
It's
Deadpool.
mocked by Deadpool because he's like, this series is finite. Like they know
Yeah,
that it's not guaranteed.
he's like, what are you guys doing trying to set stuff up? You know this isn't going to continue. What? Is this true, Chemdog? Chemdog says apparently Santarans also love chocolate. Really? Do they? I didn't know about that. What episode does that appear in Doctor Who? Now I need to know. I need to go back. Man, I mean, who doesn't love chocolate? Like, really, that's the question. That's the question we should be asking ourselves. So Bruce reveals that basically Neiro shares what we established before that you were talking about,
Hmm.
Sasha. This idea of Loki wants to get revenge on Japan because they took something from him, so he's going to take it out on all of Japan, even though it might have just been like one person that did it. The Flux Sontaran episode. Okay, I'll have to check that one out. I'll have to check that one out. And Bruce has an idea for what that could be. How convenient. It's something called the Gateway Controller, which there's the Patch Quest reference. They named their last series Patch Quest. Come on. Talking about how these are awful names for things. And then we fast forward past all of the information, but what I gleaned from this is that it can open up rifts in between
Dimensions.
dimensions. Bruce reveals that they put this device, the Gateway Controller, under the
In the
Tokyo
Tokyo
Dome.
Dome for
I
maximum damage.
I was like, I love how he's like, for safekeeping. I'm like, it's an interesting choice. I feel like they just wanted to draw the Tokyo Dome. But also, I feel like Avengers, this is a terrible place to keep something. Wouldn't you be endangering how many people by having. Oh my goodness.
That's supposed to be
Thank
a secret.
It's supposed to be a secret-ish. No one would ever guess that we put it in the Tokyo Dome and endangered how many lives. So they go down there to go check on it to make sure it's still there and to like, grab it so they can keep it safe.
Which
And
is what
that
you
is
should never do in any of these plots.
because
Ever.
I mean people are probably following you, right? Like if you're the people that the villains are coming after, they're definitely
You need to throw them the curveball by not going to look
yeah.
for it. Just live your life normally and never go look at it.
Live your life normally and never go look for it. This is so true. This is so true. So they don't do that. They decide we're gonna go right to it. I'm sure nothing bad will happen as a result of that. And they go right to it. And who follows them? Of course, it's a bunch of Hydra
Hydra.
agents because Loki has taken over Hydra. So yeah, that's a whole thing that has also happened, which is also honestly insane to think about. And if someone said to me, "Guess what? Loki just took over Hydra," I'd be like, "Everyone's in trouble." Like
I
you
know, I love
could.
that it's just a blurb. It's just like, oh, and also this happened off panel at some point.
Also, how is Loki not taking down all of Japan already? I mean, I feel like if you have all of Hydra at your disposal, but and the powers of a god. Anyways, I guess maybe he, he has his own ways of doing things. He's
He wanted that team. It's not cool without the team.
yeah, he's like, I just don't want to do it on my own. It's not fun if I win by myself. I have no one to celebrate with. That's gonna be Loki's sad
Look at
story arc. He's just
Deadpool. He
lonely.
was planning a whole party that, as far as Loki knows, people came to.
Loki's like, I'm really jealous of the fact that Deadpool has friends that came to his party and no one ever comes to my parties. Oh my goodness. That's also why he didn't want to crash. He was like, I respect the fact that you're having a party and you have friends so much that I will just leave because
Well, also, allegedly his brother should be coming, so.
allegedly. He's like, I don't want to deal with that, but also like, all right, I can't crash the party. Well, one of Loki's punishments was serpent venom dripping in his eyes. That's true. Hydra connection.
And that's why it's supposed to be that we have earthquakes for when he trembles, because his wife doesn't catch the venom drips in the bowl.
It's the time in between. I don't know how big that bowl is, but I guess over time it's maybe gotten smaller because I think we've gotten more and more earthquakes. So it's shrinking. Everyone, watch out. The venom is corroding it. That's my lore. Welcome to my Norse mythology stream. So, yeah, these Hydra agents end up showing up. And they are ready to get into this tussle.
And they knock Bruce out right quick so that he doesn't Hulk out.
He is knocked out and he's out of it. And I love how it's like, well, time for you to Hulk. Okay. Well, guess that's not happening. So Samurai Squad gets to do their thing. And finally we get the Samurai Squad. Assemble. They all rush in. They're fighting these goons, taking them out. Left, right, center. And we get an awesome Fire Punch reference, which I really loved. Fire Punch, for those that are not familiar, is a very crazy manga. I have not read it, but I know of it. And I know enough to know when I see a Fire Punch reference. And so during the fight, Deadpool gets set on fire, and then he literally punches someone through their chest and says, Fire Punch, because that's what it is. The fight continues.
I like how he mentions they don't have a lot of pages left, so he's like, this is why we had to do it like this. My teammates didn't get as much spotlight because of page count reasons.
Yeah, it's like, it's not personal. We only have so many pages left, so now we're going to question you. Tell us where Loki is. And once again, you may have remembered in the beginning of the series, in the beginning of this volume, Sasha, when the scientist says we still have an ace up our sleeve.
Yes.
This is something that's just said throughout. I don't know if this is commonly said in manga because I haven't read enough manga recently, but I like to imagine in my headcanon that it's also just something that's always said in manga. Oh my goodness. Matt is saying, if I had a nickel for every time Deadpool referenced a Fujimoto series, I'd have 2 nickels. That's true. Yeah, because you're right. He did also reference Chainsaw Man, which is, it's kind of weird that it happened twice. It's not a lot of money, but it's weird that you'd have 2 nickels, I will say. I guess that's Deadpool's a Fujimoto fan. That's what we've established here. So they asked this guy's got another ace up his sleeve, and the ace up his sleeve is that Hydra has used the most advanced technology in the world to successfully regenerate the ultimate being, once feared as the most powerful in our universe. And we get this fantastic page where
there's like lots of nice negative space on that page with Deadpool.
Deadpool is worried that it's making him look scandalous, though. Deadpool says, now I look like a pinup poster with the holes cut out to make me look nude. And then when he said that, I couldn't unsee it. I was like, yeah, it does look like that. I thought of all the covers that I like where there's like this white space or just this, would we call it liminal space, where it's just empty space that's filled with a solid color that is like sexy vibes. And I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of those that are really good. It does kind of look like that. In a really messed up way, though. What's happening with your leg? And who shows up? Who is this being?
Thanos.
Thanos. Also, I gotta say, I love the Thanos character design. His nose. Like, what the heck? nose is so angular.
Like there's still a focus
Cheeks.
on the chin, but they've altered some of the proportions on the face, which is
They
giving it a bit of a different
elongated it.
look.
It's kind of got
Yeah,
a bit of a Skrull look, if I'm
a
being
little bit.
honest.
Yeah.
But I don't hate it. Like, I like how sharp it looks. Like, he looks like he could cut you with his face. Thanos is like, even my face is a weapon. Honestly, probably something Thanos would say / has said at some point. So that is where this ends. Except then we get some cute little bonus pages, which I loved. Where Deadpool confesses to Spider-Man that he's leaving New York. He's gonna go to Japan.
The Deadpool Spider-Man dynamic was so big for like a while. They even got their
Which
own
was
comic
bigger?
together.
They did. Deadpool Spider-Man or Deadpool Harley Quinn?
Oh, Deadpool Spider-Man. The
Okay,
Spidey
good,
pool
good.
was a
I'm
lot.
glad I didn't miss something
bigger.
that big. Yeah. So we get the reveal, here that Spider-Man did come to, or Deadpool did come to Spider-Man before and said,
just to tell him, that he's leaving because it'll be important. Spider-Man.
I'm going to Japan. I'm gonna join the Japanese. I'm gonna join the Japan division of Avengers. They're not even Japanese. I guess the two people that are on the team, those people are Japanese, but I'm gonna go do that thing, and I just want to give you the heads up. And Spider-Man responds how you would imagine.
I don't like you, but I'm gonna miss you a teeny tiny bit.
I don't like you.
See, this is why I was always more down for Cable Pool. I feel like Deadpool should be with someone who actually enjoys spending time with him.
Right, you want Deadpool to feel fulfilled. You're like, Deadpool deserves love too. So I agree with that, honestly.
Get yourself a man who will hire you to do hits to keep you occupied. I
mean, this is true. Spider-Man's never going to do that for Deadpool. Let's be real. But I do think what I like about Spider-Man and Deadpool is I feel like over time, Spider-Man doesn't like to admit it, but I think he does have a really big soft spot for Deadpool. And I think in a weird, bizarre way, there are parts of himself that he sees in Deadpool, and it's kind of cute.
Because I feel like they played it up based on like, they're both so bantery. They both have a slight similarity and like look depending upon what we're doing. So
yes, yeah. Although I think I still love Deadpool and Captain America the best. I think that's my favorite.
Their friendship is fun.
Their friendship is fun, and just Deadpool just being like such a big like fanboy of Captain America, I always think is kind of cute and sometimes really sad, but mostly cute. Only in certain, just for Hydra Cap. So Spider-Man says to Deadpool, "I'll let you ask me one thing, anything you want, I'll do it for you." Deadpool responds saying, "Anything? Anything?" And based on everything that we've just read, I was a little concerned to turn this page. But
it was wholesome. Yeah. It was wholesome because it had to be. He even says like it was all he could ask for.
Yeah, he knew that he would get in trouble if he asked for something more dirty. And I like how Spider-Man's response is, "What was he going to do to me? Sugar?" And that is the end of Deadpool Samurai Volume 1. A special thanks to CB Sobalski, Jake Thomas, Kusano-san, Fukasaka-san, Saka Kibara-san, Kami-san, a bunch of bigwigs, all of our readers, and, of course, the staff. Yuto Sano-san, Kenta Yoshizumi-san, Ryo Suguri-san, Arata Momo-san, Miyuki Tonigaya-san, Chaiki Nagawaka-san, and Rei Sugita-san. I like how everybody gets to be san. So cute. Just the sense of the fact that it's a really cute community. I also love the art at the end with them just sitting around the table. And I love
the callback to little Avengers, like all eating together callback.
All eating together, and I love that they're all having chimichangas. And I love that Kage is just like eating a chimichanga too. So
has
cute.
It been referenced lately that Deadpool doesn't actually like chimichangas?
No. I've only ever seen it referenced that he does like chimichangas.
Because he doesn't, though. Like that was the joke. When did he
establish that?
That was the joke initially in Deadpool and Cable when it first comes up. They established that he likes saying the word. So
Right.
like he's
But
there and
then
he's
it
like
actually,
chimichanga, chimichanga, and then he orders an enchilada. But it's like,
he's like, yeah, I don't want a chimichanga. I just like saying it.
maybe he likes it now. Maybe they've changed it to like
I was
where he
gonna
actually
say,
does
because I feel like
also
it's
like
been established now that he does like chimichangas. So I don't know if there was just someone in continuity that like that joke went over somebody's head and they missed the punchline of the joke. But
I
I
don't know.
would say
I
that
kind of love
now
the idea that
Deadpool
he
loves
doesn't like
chimichangas. He just likes saying it.
because
I
it's a
feel like
fun
he's eaten
word.
too many at this point now. We can't go back.
It's true. We're in too deep.
But I think yeah, initially he just likes saying it, and then he okay. So wait, this says first published in Japan in 2018.
It took a while. No, it took a while for them to translate it. It floated around in fan translation for
Yeah,
years
but it
before it ended
arrived
up getting
here in 2022. We
before it
got
ended
it
up finally getting an official
right.
translation. That happened with a
Wow,
couple of them. Like
that's
it's
interesting because it's a North American property, so you would think like
but it was really being pitched towards the Japanese audience. So it was like this is like you're getting Deadpool.
yeah,
But
this
then it
is
ended
your
up
Deadpool.
being popular over here as well through the, fan translations and the like.
Well, and I mean, it's like you also have people that love like manga, that love
Mhm.
Marvel, that love Deadpool. So it's like, yeah, when I saw this, I thought it was so intriguing. I found my copy. I was just walking around in Indigo. Like usually when I'm at
Mhm.
the mall, if there's an Indigo, I'll go in and just look at books
Mhm.
because I like books. For those of you that are new, if you didn't know, I like books. And I saw this in the manga section, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! Like a Deadpool manga. I wonder, like, I guess it's just maybe Marvel, and it's like our creators made it, like from North America." And then I was looking, and I was like, "Oh, this is like a legit manga. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool."
I always like
Um,
seeing the crossover products. Like they're really interesting. Like I've also enjoyed the DC runs that have been coming out, like Superman versus Meshi is a lot of fun. Operation Joker with Joker raising baby Batman is a lot
yeah,
of fun.
that sounds so fun. Actually, that sounds like a good
Spider-Man
one.
Red is another interesting one. Like so there's a lot of interesting ones out there.
That's what we were talking about, maybe checking out at some point, and that's where I
Mhm.
was like, the end of this could be a segue into what our next stream ends up being, depending on what direction we want to go in, because also goodness knows there's going to be a lot of things to talk about coming up soon.
There are so many things happening at the
Yeah,
same time. It's so
so many
much.
things happening at the same time. Scribbles, also thank you for that stretch. I just did it, but just in case you didn't see. And Raven Scar is asking how many volumes. Two
Two.
volumes. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
it, which feels, I know Deadpool said, this is finite, but
It's like I like
feels
to believe
really
that it could have
short.
kept going.
I think so. I mean, I guess I'd have to read, the second volume to see if
Mhm.
it continues to be as fun. But this is pretty fun, and it feels like they're actually trying to build characters that are interesting, that, we might actually, I don't know, like care about these original characters, and
Deadpool works
has,
just incredibly well
he
in that
does.
format. It
And
it
I mean,
feels like quite the natural fit for him.
it's kind of cool that I don't think he really needs like a lot of like Marvel characters around him
Mhm.
to hold the series as it is. Like I think you could put Deadpool in Japan in this world. There's a whole other cast of heroes and villains that are all original that you've created just for the manga. And
Mhm.
I actually think that's more interesting in some ways. Like it's nice to see the anime versions, the manga versions of the characters that we know
And
and love.
it helps
But
ground him a little bit. And
yes,
I
that's
think
true.
that that's part of the appeal though, because
Mm-hmm.
part of the appeal is like the Suicide Squad isekai thing where it's like you're trying to introduce some of those characters and like explain them a little bit to people who are, less familiar with them.
Super Cheetah is asking, are there any other Marvel manga adaptations? Yes. Yes, there are. There is, like we were talking about, the X-Men,
Mhm.
which I think was based on the animated series.
Mhm.
And
We
there
also there's like
is,
the whole like Marvel manga like line that they had like briefly for a little bit that I
yeah.
believe that's also being reprinted, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Basically, Marvel has had like a few different collabs. They have like a whole thing with Shonen. Actually, I think the The writer for this, Kasama, also worked on the Marvel Shonen collab, so that's also kind of cool, and I guess makes sense. I don't know if it was Deadpool was what they wrote in there, but yeah, pretty cool. Uh, Raven is recommending Batman Death Mask is a nice single volume read. Good art with self-contained story that ties into the Batman backstory. Ooh.
Yeah, I read The Death Mask years ago. Like, I remember liking it.
People are suggesting Wolverine Snicked in the.
That's why it was called the
comments.
Mangaverse.
Yeah, yeah, the Marvel Mangaverse. Yeah. Although that's also interesting because yeah, that's the comic story, right? So that's like the stuff that Marvel wrote. But it's not manga, is it? Like it's manga. Let me clarify this. It's manga
and I'm
in
like
comic
to
form
the
as opposed to comic characters that are taken and put into manga. Does that make sense? Because I'm thinking of the mangaverse that was like the comics.
This is the 2002 one.
2002 one.
It's been forever since I've looked at this. Iron Maiden and all of that.
Yeah,
oh
let me
my
see
goodness.
if this is the one that I'm thinking of. Oh yeah,
Antoinette.
There was 2 runs in it, actually, I should say, because there's this Marvel Mangaverse, and then there was like, wasn't there one that came after this, or was it before this one? I think it was after this one. I think there's another one as well.
There was a sequel, New Mangaverse.
But are these actual manga, like when they were sold, or were they? I don't have these ones, so or were they comics? Like I just want to know what the format is.
Oh, like were they just adopting that style?
Yeah, the Marvel Mangaverse is a series of comic books published by Marvel Comics from 2000 to 2002. Yeah, and the sequel was in 2006. Thank you, DiCarlo. So yeah, that's what I thought. So it's like those ones are kind of interesting because they're like comics, but like in a manga style. Whereas this is like, I would say this is just like a manga.
It is
like Deadpool, isn't it?
No, so you get to see that take on it, which is interesting. Yeah. What's fascinating is that he doesn't change that much. Some other characters, when you get them, they change. Like there's just a bit of a different vibe or mentality. Like they're just presented a little bit differently.
Well, I would say that was the interesting thing with the Marvel Mangaverse from my knowledge of it. Now, I don't own all the physicals or anything, and I haven't read every piece of it, but I've dipped a toe in here and there to look at some of it. And it's interesting because some of the characters, not all of the characters, but some of them feel very like shifted into like that tone, like they mangafy them, which makes sense because it's a comic that's supposed to be like in a manga style. But that is also what I like about this. And it's like there's certain characters that's going to work better and worse for depending on who you have. But I think Deadpool is a really strong character to do something like this with because he just kind of fits the style of manga really well. He can be
I think it's also just because of the elements they've given him of the meta breaking have allowed him to be able to transcend. Like when he had all of those minis where he was killing everybody, like killing the Marvel Universe, Illustrated, transcending universes and all those things, like those fit as well because you can just kind of shift him to different settings and different periods because of that, because it always feels like he's a bit outside commenting on things, which allows you to drop him into a lot of different settings and it can usually work pretty well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Super Cheetah is asking, has Marvel done any manga crossovers in their own stories? Well, I mean, do you mean like the Marvel Mangaverse, or do you mean do you mean like crossovers with actual mangas? I need elaboration on that question. I would say if you mean within Marvel, then yeah, I would say the Marvel Mangaverse is that. But if you're saying like with other mangas, no, I think they've only done crossovers with like publishers and
like how DC's met Ultraman or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering if that's the question. I mean, there is this other one that we were going to maybe talk about at some point. I don't know if we'll talk about this one, but there is Ultimo, which is credited part of the writing done by Stan Lee. So that's a thing that exists. But I don't know if that's what you mean. That's like Marvel people working on manga, which could also mean what you mean. Like the DC Marvel amalgam. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so like a crossover world. I've never seen anything like it. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Mm-mm.
No. That would be cool though. They have crossovered with. They have done crossovers with other IPs, but I've never seen them do a crossover with like a manga IP, like Chainsaw Man and Deadpool teaming up. Honestly, though, that would be sick, and I would totally read that. I I would actually love that. Uh, Raven is saying, just curious, have either of you seen the Bat in the Sun Deadpool live action fights? I have not.
Mm-mm.
Bat in the Sun. What is Bat in the Sun? Is that a YouTube channel? I haven't.
You need to know.
I think it is production company. Oh yeah, I know Bat in the Sun. No, I haven't seen any of that. I did watch one the other day that someone sent me, which was Wolverine versus Wonder Woman. It was interesting.
Who won?
Wonder Woman won, but I didn't quite agree with the way that she did it. Even though I personally, who would you give that win to?
I'd give it to Wonder Woman.
Me too. I'd give it to Wonder Woman too. I could see also I could see or sorry, not Deadpool. I could see a world where Wolverine takes it. I could see that happening. I mean, really, it's interesting because the way they do it is they poll fans, and then based on the poll, that's what they use to determine who actually wins the fight, which is kind of
okay.
Cool. But it's also kind of like, to me, I was like, that's interesting, but it's also kind of biased because we're all going to answer based on, you know, whatever we've read and our knowledge of the characters, and also just like based on which one, like if I were to write it, that's probably how I would write that story.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of preferential, I would say, when you ask fans a little bit. However, we also tend to have a lot of knowledge about stuff, so in theory, it should be a somewhat accurate answer. But the way that she takes him out, she throws him into some lava in a volcano on Themyscira.
How would you have had Wonder Woman defeat Wolverine?
Drown him.
I like that you're instant.
Drown him in an instant. Yeah, how would you have Wonder Woman? How would you have Wonder Woman defeat Wolverine?
Is it dramatic to lasso him into the sun? Like, is that too dramatic?
Ooh. Oh, no, I love that. I don't think it's too dramatic. Like with her invisible jet, or just flying by herself, like she can fly, or like she just
because she can fly, like, because, you know, like Wonder Woman, depending on what we're doing, like she can fly. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, which version are we going with? Okay, so not her taking him up in her jet. She's just flying him up right into the sun. Yeah?
Yeah, you know, like, why not?
I mean, I like
it. The sun's right there.
Yours sounds definitely way more visually compelling. I will say that. Drowning someone is not as visually compelling. Well, actually, I guess it depends.
It depends.
Where are we drowning
It depends.
them? Yeah. So, but, you know, I was thinking drown him in a puddle like he did to Dawkins. You know, a little bit of karma there.
Not even like a big thing. Just a little.
Although, you know, I feel like we should do the big thing for the art, because I feel like
because you need to do like the big dramatic sink with the bubbles going up to the top, you know.
Yeah. So you're throwing him up into the sun, and I'm throwing him down to the bottom of the ocean. Honestly, depths. At the bottom of the ocean would be the best place to keep Wolverine, because also the pressure, he wouldn't be able to get up, is the adamantium, and then also drowned, because that's the way that suffocating him, you could kill him. So but he went into the lava, and that was the one part that I didn't really like as much, because I was like, well, he would just come out of the lava, like, he'd be okay. Just lava. I think Wolverine can heal from that. But that being said, yes, someone was saying, I think Raven was saying, they do have alternate endings, and that's true. They also have an alternate ending where Wolverine wins and Diana loses. And he just snicks her, basically. Yeah. Which, yeah, is how that would go, I guess. Yeah. I think he, like, in her heart or in her head or something. Some crucial place. Probably the heart. That would be, if I were to write it, I would do it in the heart, because I'd be like, that's the saddest part, because Woman's all heart, you know? That's her thing.
Well, it's thematically, you know, relevant to do it in the heart.
Yeah. Also, though, my question is, why are these people fighting? Why were the X-Men like, you got to go to Themyscira and fight these Amazons? I'm like, wow, that seems...
Just let them fight. Well, depending upon the lore, all he needs to do is step on the island. So, like, really, it just depends.
Well, I mean, that's what happened to make Wonder Woman fight Wolverine, because he went there to investigate, I think. The X-Men sent him out to go handle it. Scott drops him off, and then And then he steps on the island, and then she's like, "You got to leave the island," and he's like, "I'm not leaving the island."
You see, Scott set him
And
up.
there you go, yeah. And then they have to fight because she's like, "Well, I'm gonna have to fight you then." And this is what it is. You should, when I say get off the island, you should get off the island, especially if you're a man. You're not allowed to be here. The heck? I didn't give you permission. It's our island. But it's also a weird thing of like just the idea of the X-Men being like, let's just send Wolverine to Themyscira. I'm sure nothing bad will come of this. Like, okay. All right. Let's start a conflict with Themyscira real quick. Wolverine needs Gabby's ability of not feeling pain. That would be pretty cool. I do think that's a cool ability that Gabby has. However, I also do feel like I kind of like the Wolverine feels pain. You know, it makes him more of a tortured soul in many ways.
I always, whenever like the can't feel pain thing comes up, I always think about what an actual disadvantage it is for people who do live like that in real life. I'm like, it's actually really bad to not feel pain.
Yeah,
it's really bad for the day-to-day life. I know it's a fictional story, but I'm like, it's actually like pretty bad.
I feel like Gabby has, haven't there been arcs though, actually, where she talks about that? About how
a little
it
bit.
is?
Yeah, like the disassociation and like stuff like that from it.
Yeah, and how it like messes her up a bit to not feel the pain. So yeah, that is a good point though. In ways, it could be worse than feeling the pain, for sure. Locke, congrats on your 10 stream streak. Thank you so much for sharing your streak and streaking on through. There's another hydrate here from Ruthless Ghost. But yeah, so overall, how do we feel about Deadpool Samurai?
I really liked the story a lot, and I didn't go into it with any expectations one way or the other. Like, I knew of it, I'd heard good things about it. But I wasn't anticipating anything. What surprised me was how like genuinely funny I found it. Like, to actually be reading it and laugh out loud a few times. I was like, I didn't expect for it to amuse me that much, but it did. So
it did. I agree with that. It also made me literally laugh out loud, and I just also found myself like sucked into it. Like this, I read this the same weekend I read the first volume of One Piece, and I was surprised at, I mean, One Piece is, I would say, flawless. I'm going to be doing a video on volume 1 at some point in the near future to share my thoughts on all of it, but it was one of the most compelling things I've read in a bit. I really enjoyed it. But I found that Deadpool was on a pretty comparable level in terms of I really just found myself enthralled by it and like had to keep flipping. And it made me very happy that I was reading it this way as a collection and not having to wait you know, each week for a new chapter to come out, because I would have been like, oh man, I really want to know.
I mean, especially after that teabagging ending, like how could you?
That's right.
How could you live?
Will he continue to teabag? What happens next? Are they going to explain how Deadpool somehow got into this position in midair? I have many questions. Yes. Yeah. So I would say that I also really enjoyed this. And it was funny. It was compelling. It did a good job with the character from the comics. And then it also kind of introduced us to, honestly, some pretty interesting original characters. Neiro especially is like...
Well, just because she's so strange.
She's so weird. It's like, there's no one else in Marvel that's like that. Like, way to make a Venom alternate that's, I'm not going to forget, you know? It's one of those things where I'm like, I need to talk. I could just do a video just on her backstory. I know. I'm sure everyone's here for the Neiro video. But yes. Thank you so much for the super chat, Nightwing. Nightwing says, Sasha, voice of Batman. Yes, someone was suggesting the other day that we should do a stream together where we just read things and do voices of characters. And I was like, I think that's against some copyright rules. I don't think we're allowed to do that. But I was like, I don't know. Maybe if we had something where we removed the bubbles and we had our own copies, then it could be possible. I don't know. I don't think you're allowed to say exactly what people are saying throughout the entire thing. But
not throughout the entire thing. You have to break it up. You have to be transformative. You have to add your own commentary, and there needs to be a reason why you're bringing it up in reference to something else.
Something that is analyzing it.
Yes.
But, I mean, maybe at some point we could do more of a scripted something where we write that in, like how Jay and Miles explain the X-Men. kind of script their stuff, and then they'll have the parts where they read the lines in the voices and like this echoey, like this is the comic sound, something
I
like
haven't
that.
had
Those
to
are
do Batman
fascinating.
voice in a bit, which is funny because there's a whole bunch of Batman stuff I've done that just hasn't come up. I'm like, some another time.
I mean, do you think you're gonna change your Batman voice for when we have absolute Batman? When
for
that happens?
for Rectangle Man, for Brick Man.
Oh.
I don't know.
For chonky
For
Batman.
Chonky Batman.
I saw your
I-
video on that actually, and I was like, I'm glad to know that I'm not the only person that's here for this chonky Batman. I mean, I think a lot of people are, but I feel like it's so mixed right now in terms of where people stand on that look.
It's like I'll also need to see it in action. You know, I'll need to see it moving. Although in my head, automatically, I'm like, it would be really funny if he had like a really high pitched voice. But that's just me for this
It would,
huge chonky Batman.
yeah, he's just like, hi guys, it's me, Batman. It's like, whoa, okay. Yeah, I think it's gonna be, I don't even know what voice. I feel
One
like
of
that's gotta
my
be a low
like
voice.
one of my internal jokes, like it varies. Like sometimes I'll do a really bad Adam West impression for like 60s Batman. But other times I just think it's really funny in my own head to maintain ridiculous Bale Batman voice for all Batman, even when he's Bruce Wayne and like denying his identity and stuff. I just find that really funny. It's like I'm
Oh
not
my
Batman,
goodness.
like in full Batman voice.
Oh yeah, I could see. Yeah, that's. I can't wait to see where this is going with this new Batman and what that is going to be like with his weird bat cape and
I'm
his weird
genuinely curious. Like you're going
hands.
to San Diego Comic Con, so like that's going to be
Yes.
really exciting to
They
see
have a
all
few
that.
panels, DC, where it
Yes,
definitely
they do.
seems like
They
they're going to
expanded their
be.
roster actually to add like more panels, and I was like, "Oh my goodness."
Ooh. Yeah, I
They have
have a
a whole
few.
panel on the multiverse, and I wish I could go to it.
There is going to be a panel that's also very mysterious of just like what's next in DC, and there's like no details on it. It's like we're going to be telling you about like the next stories and stuff.
For like the alleged
I'm
what
like,
they're calling a bleeding cool all in. Like
I think that's what it's going to be because it's like
mhm,
there's no creators listed for what it is. There's no
mhm,
like big detail. There's no nothing is detailed. They're just like it's about the future of comics, and I'm like,
mhm,
okay. And they're like, there'll be people, and I'm like, okay. Interesting how mysterious you're keeping this. So I think that might be the one where they reveal,
mhm.
yeah, all in and absolute DC and all that stuff that we've been expecting to happen. Serenity, you were saying that some channels do that. They have everything up there. I would say those channels are living on the edge. They're living on the edge. And all the
You
power
don't
to
want to
them.
walk that edge.
I feel like it's a dangerous edge to walk on, especially when a lot of the times, these are companies that obviously, like, hi, Marvel, Viz Media, anyone that's out there in the world, I'd love to work with you. So that's like the thing too, right? Like you have to think if they're looking at your channel and seeing that you're doing that with their content, how will they take it? They could take it as a compliment, but they could also be like, we're going to sue you. So, or they could just say, okay, if that's what you're going to do, like, we don't want to work with you because
Yeah,
we
they
don't
could
appreciate
like
that.
they'll leave it, but it means that you're foregoing the potential for a professional relationship if that's something that you
Yeah.
are
So it
looking
can be
for, which not all
risky in
channels
that
are.
way. Yeah. 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 Some people I think are fine with that. I mean, if you enjoy the content that you make, that's what I mean. I mean, that's honestly what matters, I think, the most at the end of the day. But
I
yeah,
think so.
it is dangerous, and it is one of those things where legally you also don't want to open yourself up to something, which is why I personally, I mean, even doing when we do these videos, I'm always like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
nervous. I'm gonna flip through this entire thing. But I also feel like it's in a way where the whole time we're talking about it, we're talking about what's going on, we're talking about our
Well,
thoughts
because the thing
on
with
things.
transformation is that you need to not be a stand-in for the original.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you can't be something like, oh, I'm not buying Deadpool manga now because like I saw it. It's like no, because there's so much stuff like we didn't even look at or talk about. There were
There's
so many other like
so
little
much
moments
stuff.
or like there were Deadpool makes so many jokes in this. So many
Every
little jokes.
bubble that is on that page honestly is something, and that is the thing that, like, when I went back in this to kind of get some ideas on like the things that I wanted to discuss. I was just
Mhm.
like, it's hard because like I'm just gonna have to pick out the biggest things, because honestly I could talk about like every single bubble on every single one of these pages, because
Mhm.
every one of them is like a little gem in and of itself for some other reason. That's the thing I really love about this manga, is it's just like they didn't just phone this in, you know? It's like I have so much respect for the team that put this together, because you can tell they have such a love for the character, the
Mhm.
property, and the style of manga, the art form that is manga. Um, this is also true. There's also a volume 2 that I didn't talk about, so if you want to continue the story, you'll have to get that one. Although I might still talk about volume 2 at some point, because I'm gonna read it. So we'll see if I have thoughts on volume 2.
Does
Uh,
that happen to you sometimes where you read a thing and you're like, I should talk about this thing, like even whether it makes sense to talk about it or not?
yeah. I am like, I don't know if people want to know about this, but I want to talk about it. So, I mean, there are definitely times when I have those ideas though, where I'm just like, I mean, I guess I can just put this off to whenever, because it's not like anyone else is probably gonna care.
I know, like sometimes I'm like, it's time to stop.
Yeah, it's time to go back to the trends for a little bit, and then like
Oh my
pepper in the
gosh.
things that I'm like, these
Okay.
are weird and nobody will care, but I want to talk about it.
So my latest time to stop was when I was doing Sad Lantern. I had briefly forgotten the love interest name, which is terrible because been reading it concurrently, and I was like, Daniel, and I was like, his name's not Daniel, but I'd already typed in like Daniel Green Lantern, and I found this obscure Green Lantern who was in one issue like once in like the middle of the Bronze Age, and now I'm like, oh, I want to talk about Daniel, but no one will care.
But no one will
He's
care.
just
Oh
like
my
some
goodness.
guy.
So, Tanner is saying, don't know if this has been asked yet, but did you see the leak that the Absolute Universe is going to launch in October? Is that the new one that happened today? I know people were talking about there was some more news or something that happened today. I was busy streaming and then eating
They've been
food and then
rumoring
getting
that
ready
for
for
a
the stream.
while. Like they've been
Yeah,
rumoring
like,
that for a while, and
well,
lots of things have been
everything
lining
is
up for it.
ending in October, right? So it's just
Yeah,
like,
like September, like a bunch of those things and new creative teams are appearing. It's like Absolute Power will have been like finishing off and all of that stuff. And they already, started with the whole like we blocked off the multiverse, we invaded the time sphere, like all of that like stuff is happening.
yep. Yep. So, oh, Moxie's also saying, "Oh, I read it and you'll love it," in regards to volume 2. So, well, that sounds good. I mean, you just heard me talk about it, Moxie. So, if you're saying that based on what I've said here, excellent. I'm very excited to read it. I'll have it by tomorrow. So, I will just refreshed and I can dive right in. Ender is saying, whenever I find a Gundam clip, it's like I like it's only a matter of time. Could be a week, could be like 14 years later, but sunrise will come for it one day. Yep, that's the thing. That's what I mean. It's like that's
It
the risk that you
depends.
take.
It really depends what it is. I have to say, I've honestly been surprised with how lenient they've been with like Suicide Squad Isekai. So,
Yeah, in terms of like what you're showing in terms of the
mhm.
clips and stuff. Wow. Well, maybe they just want it to be promoted. I mean, the interesting thing with Suicide Squad Isekai is I know you and I were talking about it and you were like, "Are you here for this? Are you
Mhm.
going to
Are you
talk
on the
about it?
tray?
Are you interested?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm on the train. I'm ready." But you can't get it in Canada. So I'm trying to find some way to get my hands on it so I can watch it.
You
But
got
it's
to get
not
on the VPN train.
I mean, I have a VPN. I have a VPN, but the problem is I need an American address for a lot of stuff.
Mm.
So even with my VPN, I run into snags. But I might just watch it when I'm in
You
America
haven't
for
even been to San Diego.
SDCC. Yeah, I was like, if I just like kind of crush an episode like each morning when I'm getting ready and getting into cosplay, I usually watch something anyways.
I mean,
Yeah.
saying this as someone who does enjoy it, I mean, I don't know if that's how you want to spend your time.
Yeah. And then Tanner says it was another leak from Bleeding Cool, including Martian Manhunter will have a run in the Absolute Universe. Yes, I did hear about this. Al Ewing might be doing Green Lantern, and Dennis Camp might be doing Martian Manhunter. Is is what I've heard, which would fit with what a lot of people are saying. But then that's always the thing that makes me go like, ooh, that would be really cool because it would fit with a lot of us are saying. But then I'm like, oh, but then does that mean it's less likely or more likely to be
Yeah,
true?
are you going on the whole like, oh, that means like, are you thinking like these are like false rumors to lead you in like the wrong direction?
I just mean like, is it one of those things of like, what were our guesses right, or is it somehow like what someone is saying? But I don't know. It's a Bleeding Cool, so like I feel like everything that I've been hearing so far about this from Bleeding Cool has been felt pretty spot on as I've gotten more and more information about it. So, and I mean, Al Ewing doing Green Lantern is like if that doesn't happen, like I don't know, I would be disappointed, honestly. I'd be disappointed.
I'm really enjoying where mainline Green Lantern is right now. It's in a very solid place. So I'm also slightly frightened. I know they say that everything's going to keep going at the same time, but I'm like, things are good at the moment. I'm like, don't take this from me.
Don't take this from me. Also,
Kyle's
Serenity,
about to
so
do something.
Serenity is offering me an address if I need one so that I can use my VPN so that I can watch stuff.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's region locked. I appreciate that. It is a frustrating thing with a lot of the animated stuff that we get from like HBO, like DC, like Warner Brothers. Like a lot of it doesn't release. A lot of the Warner Brothers stuff doesn't release in Canada.
Since the stuff has been stratified, it's just been like, it's so frustrating because you're like, we're right here. Like we're so close.
Yeah, it's like we haven't gone anywhere. So it's weird that they're like, yeah, Canada, you don't get anything. Like, get out of here, Canada. I'm like, that sucks. So yeah, but I mean, I'll find a way. I'm gonna find a way to watch it for sure. I'll do what I must. Nothing that's illegal. I promise. But I'll do what I must because I really, really want to watch it, and I've heard such good things about it. Sasha, how you're liking it? You've been doing content on it, right?
I have been. I'm very interested in potentially talking about the sub versus the dub, which would be interesting. But I'm gonna wait till like it's all done to do that, to do a proper like comparison thing. But
that's really why I need to be in America.
I'm having
to watch it, so
fun with
options.
It. Like
that's what I'm having trouble with finding.
It's like I'm having fun with it. I'm not having, say, like as much fun as I did with like X-Men 97 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's for what it is, because when I went into the research for it and reading the interviews of what they were trying to do, I think it's achieving what it's trying to do, which is that it wants to be like an entry point. But my thing is that I feel like its thesis is a bit flawed because I feel like the people who would seek it out would already be familiar with some of the things that it's trying to introduce you to.
So it's like, look at this thing, and you're like, yeah, we know.
Like, Clayface will repeatedly say, like, wow, this is an isekai. This is like Alice in Wonderland type stuff. This is like dragons and
like DC elements. Oh, yeah, we know what isekai is. You called it Suicide Squad isekai, and I'm watching it. There's a reason for that. Because I know what isekai means. Yeah,
and like, so they do that. They do that for both. So like, but they don't explain every character. Like the person, it's very much like Harley Quinn and the Suicide Squad. So like, she's the one who gets like the most development and attention and like that kind of stuff. They're like Harley Quinn, the Joker's only love, and like all of that kind of stuff. They have a very positive relationship so far in this, which is fascinating.
That is fascinating. That always makes me nervous when I see it. I'm like, I wonder what they're gonna do with that. I hope it's something good. Dichotic is saying, what show are we talking about? Sorry, we're talking about Suicide Squad Isekai.
One thing I wish I was caught up on is My Adventures with Superman. I'm so behind.
I haven't. I just started watching it during my subathon, and because everyone was like, you gotta, like everyone has been telling me, you gotta watch it. And so I started watching it, and I just watched the stream that they have ongoing on YouTube. So we just did a watch along with that, so we could all watch the stream. So unfortunately, that means when you're watching it back, because I have no idea what episode I'm watching, really, you won't be able to sync up with the stream. But if you were in the event, you could have just had the stream on at the same time, and we would have just been synced naturally. So I was enjoying watching it. I thought it was really, really fun, and I definitely want to go and watch all of it and talk about it because it's so cute, and it's just so... I'm like, this is exactly what I want from Superman. Like, dang. Like, making me a Superman fan, I feel like, this show. I'm not normally a a big, Clark Kent fan, but I feel like if I watch this show, I'm going to become a pretty big Superman fan from it.
I've been
I've
on the
also
Superman train since Smallville. It's the things that make him more nice and human and approachable, you know?
Yeah,
Like
and that's what I
that
feel
you
like the
see that
show
Clark.
is nailing also. Is this human side of Clark and just like, I don't know, the hopefulness of Batman. I think that's so important to have with that character for me. Anyways, that's the thing that I'm attracted to. The belief that like, Superman, like he believes in like good. He believes in humanity.
It's wholesome. It's
It's
like sometimes
nice.
you just like that, you know? It's just a good feeling.
I need that, man. My belief in humanity every day crumbles more and more. So I'm like,
No.
I need Superman to show me the good so that I can be like, yes, yes, I remember. I mean, I try to fight to be that hope. In a weird way, I feel like I do take inspiration from Superman in that way, but it's hard. It's hard, and it's very nice when you can see a hero that really embodies that ideal. I think beautifully. Chemdog says Canada, America's hat. That's what we call ourselves. The hat, the toque, if you will, of America.
Yeah, but then
There's
they'd call
my
us the
word.
beanie. So
That's true. That's true. And then Serenity was saying it should just be for North America, not US. I agree. Yes, thank you, Serenity. Thank you. Nova is saying, hi, Amanda. Hi, Sasha. I've been watching your videos, Sasha, since 2019. I'm watching Top 10 Nerd for 7 years. That's so
oh, thank you so
nice.
much.
That's so sweet. Well, thank you, Nova Star. We appreciate you checking it out. Chemdog is saying Captain America 4 trailer looks good. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Sasha?
You know, I actually haven't watched it.
You haven't watched it?
I haven't. Okay, so I fell down this rabbit hole making a video about the Gotham Butcher, and that's where I've been. So
The Gotham Butcher. Okay. All right.
that's what I've been doing
The
with my
Gotham
time.
Butcher.
That's why I didn't watch the Captain America trailer.
You gotta watch this trailer. What? You gotta watch it. Okay. I'm not gonna say anything. Actually, let's not say anything. Let's not spoil it for Sasha. But
I will. I'll get there. But it's like, sometimes you get in the zone and you get like really. I
yeah.
had to read every issue of Talon. So
I mean, hey, sometimes you gotta read every issue of Talon. I respect that. I get it. I was like, I have to run, not walk, to watch this. I have to watch this like immediately. I needed it in my veins. Well, all I'll say is that I felt like I wasn't disappointed. So that's good. That's nice. Nova, thank you so much for the $5 super chat as well. You're just repeating what you said before. Oh, that's so nice. You didn't have to do a $5 super chat. I saw you. If I ever am taking a moment, I have to be a little bit more selective. So the super chat is appreciated, as it does ensure that I will feature your comment as long as it is, not something that is like a bad comment, but I don't think we have to worry about that here. So thank you so much for the $5 super chat. That's so kind of you, and so kind of you to say. I love all the support. Thanks, Nova. Thanks for being here as well. You were here, I think, earlier in the day too. Wow. So many people that came back from my stream earlier, and I'm like, you guys are the real ones, hanging out with me all day. Oh, it's all good. It's all good, Nova. Yeah, it did go through, but yeah, there's a bit of a backlog sometimes, but I saw you. I saw that highlight in the corner of my eye, and I said, I gotta put that in there. It's a nice comment. And Danny is saying, speaking of highlighted comments, Superman and Lois is peak DC TV fiction.
They're having a panel at the con as well
a panel
for the final season.
One of my friends was like, oh, you gonna go to that panel? And I was like, honestly, I haven't been following along with Superman and Lois, but I have been peeking in, and it does look good, and I think I'm gonna need to watch it, but I would feel weird going to the panel for the last season. I don't know, would you guys want me to go to that panel? I didn't write it down, so I'm probably not gonna go. I'm gonna be real with you guys, but would you be interested in that? Let me know. I got some good panels on my list, though, of things I want to go.
Do you know which ones are like 100% guaranteed? Like you're like, I'm going, like no matter what, neither rain nor snow.
Neither rain nor snow nor sleet will stop me. Let me see. I can look at my schedule for some of the ones here. Yeah, we got a good list of things. Well, I think one of the things that I definitely want to go to, I think there's more stuff on Saturday, honestly, than Friday that I'm like married to. But there is going to be a Caped Crusader
yes,
panel that will have a little bit of a sneaky peeky. And I love a sneaky peeky. There's the What We Do in the Shadows farewell tour kickoff. I don't know if that's a must, but I'd really love to go. But it's in Hall H. So anytime there's something in Hall H, I'm like, we'll see what we can get done because it's a whole thing. There's going to be From the Ashes panel. I definitely want to go to that. There's going to be a Women of Marvel panel, which I missed last year because I messed up the time. So I'd really like to get there because I listen to Women of Marvel like all the time. I love that podcast. So it'd be cool to just see the folks. I have some friends that are doing some panels that I might try to get to. They're going to show off House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 4 in advanced. There's going to be a Doctor Who universe panel that I'd love to get to. And I think I wanna try to get to at least one of the Crunchyroll concerts. Crunchyroll is going to be doing a few concerts. Oh, and there's Mortal Kombat 1, More Kombat, which I think is going to be the expansion to Mortal Kombat 1. There's too many good things.
There's so much stuff. Like, I feel like this one's stacked, you know?
A Massive Verse panel I want to go to. Bad Idea is going to be there, and they have a panel I want to go to. There's a bunch of X-Men 97 panels that I want to get to. And there's also Mad Cave Studios has a panel. Oh, and Dynamite is celebrating their 20th at the con. So they also have a panel. And then my friends were saying that I should bring my Red Sonja cosplay and cosplay as Red Sonja at the panel. And like, you know, be a cool person to bond with Dynamite as Red Sonja.
Oh, they'd probably love that.
I think they would.
They're so nice. Like, I'm sure they'd love that.
I mean, I know I've had people that have approached me before about, like, if I want to do, like, a cosplay cover at some point. And I'm like, dude, that would be amazing. I got to shoot that. But, yeah, I know some people that want me to submit for that. So maybe one day I'll be a cosplay cover. But, yeah, that's at 11:30, 12:30. And the only thing is Massive Verse is at 11:45, 12:45. So it's like, I really want to go to the Massiverse panel, but I really want to go to the Dynamite. Don't make me choose. That's the problem. Everything happens at the same time. And then it's, oh, there's also an Anne Rice panel that's going to be happening. Interview with the Vampire and Mayfair Witches and like the series and all that stuff, which I haven't gotten into yet, but I really want to watch. I'm a big Vampire Chronicles fan, so yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. There's a Disney Dynamite panel as well, which I think would also be really good. I've been loving the Disney Dynamite stuff. I honestly think it's really good. I think
it's been a lot of fun,
Marvel, honestly. But I don't know. Wait, no, but Marvel did have that one recently that everyone was saying was really good. Did you check that one out? It was the Scrooge McDuck.
I didn't check that one out.
There's a Scrooge one where he has the Infinity Dime. Yes,
I read about it when I read the solicits and I saw it, they were doing it, but I haven't read it itself.
It's like one of the best sellers from the month that it came out. Did you know that?
That doesn't surprise me, honestly.
It's like, why is this so high up on the thing? And I was talking to Dylan about it, and he was like, oh yeah, that's apparently amazing. And I was like, really? This comic? And he was like, yeah, it's really good. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to read that, because now I'm intrigued at how good it could be. James Bunt is saying, have you run out to get your Apple Vision Pro with its Canadian release? I have not got an Apple Vision Pro. Apple Vision Pro, honestly, it makes me laugh. I'm gonna be real with you. I can't look at it straight. The pictures of it on the model, it makes me laugh every time. I would get an Apple Vision Pro, but I don't think I'd ever let anyone see me wear it. I don't think I would ever tell you guys. So maybe I did run out and grab it, and I'm just now trying to cover my tracks. But I just feel like it's such an embarrassing looking thing, even though I'm sure it's really cool. Apple Vision Pro, I'll take one. I'm just not going to publicly wear it if you're thinking about working with me. So actually don't work with me, because that's probably not...
that's what they'll want.
I'll get one, but I'm not telling anyone about it. Is that good for you? It's like, we're not taking... That's a terrible deal. Scribbles, thank you so much for the hydrate. Oh. We got some more highlighted comments here. My goodness, I have missed so many comments. Y'all are chatting, and I'm just a person that's trying to keep up. But Nova was asking, what did we think of the Agatha trailer?
I haven't done that either.
My reaction is up for both that and Captain America. And I will say, I really liked the Agatha trailer as well. That's where I'm like going into SDCC with so much hope.
Which one are you more excited for based on like your assertions having seen both of those trailers.
Yeah, I think I am. I don't know. Like, I mean, I love Agatha, and I love what they did with her in WandaVision, and I love Catherine Hahn.
Mm-hmm.
I love witches. And I'm still hopeful that maybe Scarlet Witch, maybe something. I don't think so, but there's a little part of me that's wishing and dreaming. But I think I'm more excited for Captain America Brave New World right now, just because that trailer was like fire. Like both of the trailers I think are really good, but yeah, I think I'm more excited for that one. It just feels, I mean, it's a movie, you know? It's got that movie shine to it, if that makes sense. What else? There was another highlight.
The Carlos asking where I've been. In a cave, a deep comic cave.
A deep comic cave, yeah. Yeah. Sasha has been in a deep comic cave. This is true. Nova saying, Agatha, for me, Captain America looked a little mundane, but I'm waiting for Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four will be great. Chemdog, hashtag redeem Wanda, please. Please, because we can't leave it like that. That can't be the end of Wanda. We just need a second. DiCarlo says, and Amanda's been in a bunker. This is true. I live in a military bunker in Canada. You guys all know this in my chat. You know, that's why no one can ever find me when they deliver food or deliver anything, honestly. Many times I've had to go hunt for parcels because they can't find me. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like I'm excited for both these things. But so you've been reading a bunch of comics and living that life.
Yes, I am.
Is there any comics that you're specifically excited for?
I'm really keeping up right now with Absolute Power and like the bunch of tie-ins there. The main books that are tying into that. So that's Superman, that's Batman, that's Green Lantern, that's Action Comics just launched with Gail Simone, and then the backup story with Rainbow Rowell, which was a Lois story, which is going to be like tackling the relationship dynamic between her and Clark now that she's his boss working at the newspaper, and how that's going to change things for them. And like I'm a huge Lois person. I love to talk about Lois, and
you
so like
it's been a while.
It's been a while since there's been like a Lois centric thing like that. So I'm all over that. And then of course, X-Men is relaunching. So like there's that happening over there on the Marvel side. I'm deep in the Ghost Machine universe, reading those outings and keeping up with that. So it's just like I'm reading a lot of things at the moment.
Are you gonna be reading any X-Men? X-Men started. Did you check out X-Men issue number 1?
I did, and I'm looking forward to Uncanny. Like that's
Uncanny
the one that
is my yeah. Uncanny is both of our books. Clearly, we're like Uncanny. Let's go. I'm so excited for basically just I get to go on a date with Rogue and Gambit. I think is gonna be the first arc. It feels like, and then we find the team. That's what it feels like based on the setup there. Yeah, I'm so hyped for that too. I think it's gonna be amazing. I actually felt really cool for a minute because Gail Simone said thank you to me for my breakdown of From the Ashes, and I was
nice.
Gail Simone, you have no idea how excited I am for this book. It's like my number one. I mean, actually, no, she does know because I probably said that in the video. I talked about how I was way too hyped, and I probably also brought up again the part where Gail Simone trolled me on the internet when I got hyped that X-Men was going to be Gail Simone and Jed McKay working on the new stuff. And then she responded and said, I don't know what you're talking about, basically. I think she said it in those exact words. And I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. Like, I was wrong. I jumped the gun. I got too excited. I should have checked. I read a title for an article. I didn't read the full article. This is what happens. And everyone was like, wow, Amanda, that's so responsible of you to like come forward and admit you were wrong. And I was like, yeah, I feel bad that I messed up. I just got real hyped about it. And then like the next week, South by Southwest happens and it's announced. And I was like, I knew it. And then I was like, I can't even be upset because I got trolled by Gail Simone, which is, I feel like, one of the highest honors on the internet, honestly. Gail Simone is my favorite troll. This is true. Serenity's like, she loves to troll on Twitter. Yep, she is one of the ultimate trolls on Twitter. Chemdog is saying Zub's Conan is so good. Yes, I haven't been reading all of it, but I've been
Mm-hmm.
taking a peek into it, and I actually put in a bid for a interview at SDCC with
Mm-hmm.
Jim Zub. So hopefully
Nice.
that'll get approved. We'll see if they're down to chat with me. But I also know Jim Zub,
Mm-hmm.
so I might just see him at the airport, and then I could just unofficially ask him some questions, probably. While we're just like getting ready to like, we might be on the same flight. Is what I mean. So we'll see.
You're like, the
I
time
always
is
see
now.
him. Yeah, I always see him when I'm flying. So yeah, and I have friends that are friends with him. So I know him through those friends. I think he was actually in my vlogs last year when I went to San Diego Comic-Con, because at one point we were walking along, walked we walked and Jim Zub was right there, and then we're like, oh hey, and then we were all just chatting for a bit. He was asking us what we were up to, and we were like, where are you going? So he's a real cool guy, and dang does he write Conan good. Dang, so good. Yeah, so lots of exciting things that are happening, I feel like, in terms of comics. It's crazy. And in
It
terms of
is.
shows, and in terms of animated shows.
It's just, we were talking about this before we started. It just feels like there's a lot happening right now. It just feels like there's a
Yeah.
lot and a lot that's set to happen soon. It's just like a big domino effect of things happening. I'm not a person who likes to, let myself feel excited, but like even I'm starting to like kind of be like, ooh, it feels like exciting things are happening.
I know. I was just saying, like, I feel like the hype is going to be infectious. It's going to like take over the comic book internet, and it'll just be like, we'll all be buzzing with excitement. I'm just hoping everything delivers in the way that I think everything will. I think everything's looking really good right now, and I'm just so hopeful of what we can see and how many more people we can bring into this industry, and how many other people we can get like reading comics. That always makes me so happy. I don't know if you get when people comment on your videos or like just come into the chat and they're like, by the way, like I wasn't reading comics, or I haven't been reading comics for a while, and this like brought me back into comics. I'm like, this is like my favorite thing. So if that ever happens to you, just please tell me, because it makes me so happy to know that something I did brought someone into a book of any kind. I love books.
I got a really nice email the other day of someone saying that they really enjoyed Tom Strong after I recommended it. And they were like, I picked it up and like I read it and I'm going to reread it. And I was like, oh, yay, I'm so glad.
That's so great. I love that. That just like, I feel like, I make content because I like making content and I like talking about these things just myself. But that is one of the things that really keeps me going sometimes when I'm like, is any of this, what am I doing with my life?
My favorite thing is interacting with the comments. It's honestly my favorite thing. Like I did a video on Mr. Bloom the other day, and I always ask people, I'm like, do you agree? Do you disagree? And someone completely disagreed, and they wrote me like this novel of a reason why, and it was so interesting to read through. Like I really enjoy the interaction with people when they are genuinely engaged with like, ooh, like discussing the story or the themes and all that stuff. I just think it's so fun.
This is true. I also love when people are like, and then I love when people write stuff like that and they're like, sorry I left you like this whole essay, but here it is. And I'm like, no, don't say sorry. I love the whole essay. Like you put so much thought into your response to have this conversation with me, and I'm just like, I also love that, because I mean, this is the thing. We're fans, right? So what do we love to do? We love to like
talk about the stuff.
Yeah, it's like, it's what being a fan is. So it's really fun when people come and they're like, I also have super big passion for this property, and like I really want to get into it and like analyze it and take it apart so we can have a discussion, because I'm like, oh man, that's the problem. I mean, that's the problem even when, we finished this, going through this an hour and a half in, and it's been almost an hour, and I'm always like, man, when I talk to Sasha, I could just talk to her forever, because I feel like there's so many things that I always want to talk about.
I know.
So many fandom things. James is saying, would you rather a dozen okay X books or only get one great X book? I would like them to all be great. I know that's not an option in this question. If I had to choose between those two, I'll take one great book always over a dozen okay
mid books.
Yeah. I mean, either one great book or like, even if it's like to have that great book, I got to have a really awful book. I'd rather that. I just want at least one book that's great. That would be nice. I mean, I say that like none of them are great. There are many books that are great. But my ideal would be all of the X-Men books are amazing and they're all fire. I don't even know. Is that possible? We're about to find out with From the Ashes. Because I'll tell you what, I liked X-Men issue number 1. I thought it was a pretty good setup. I am a little worried. Did you read Heir to Apocalypse?
I did not read Heir to Apocalypse, no.
I need to talk about it. I did talk about it a little bit. So DiCarlo in my stream, James Blunt. Sorry, I think before I did say James Blunt because I thought of the singer James Blunt, DiCarlo, like you, but it is James Bunt. But also James Bunt. Are you James Blunt in disguise? Let us know. Let us know in the chat. But yeah, DiCarlo did recommend it to me for when we do our comic.
Were you not a fan?
Comic streams. I like how DiCarlo's like, I'm sorry, Amanda. Don't apologize. No. I'm still gonna finish it. I'm actually intrigued by it. I am intrigued by it. Am I not a fan of it? Right now, I'm going to say no, I'm not a fan of it. But it's just because I think the concept for the story is really interesting. This idea of Apocalypse being like, well, I'm not going to be on Earth, so I need to get an heir, and I'll find one of the people I've been attached to that should take on my herald or,
Yeah, like, isn't one of the options Cable for some reason?
Yeah, Cable's one of the people he picks. It's interesting picks, too. Like, Cypher's one of the people. Armageddon Girl / Nature Girl, one of the people. Is it interesting picks. Emma Frost is one of the people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the execution of it that I have some problems with. Because there's things that are happening where I feel like it kind of just wants to wipe away some of the Krakoa era stuff, is what some of this book is trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Which, honestly, I'd be fine with if there's a reason for it in the story. So if you want to, like, undo all the progress that's done to a character, you can do that. That's fine. But I need you to give me the story of how and why this happens, and not just be like, well, we're just gonna like do this thing and like sweep it under the rug type of vibe. And it feels like that's more what this comic is doing a bit. Now, granted, the whole Heir to Apocalypse thing and what it's going to say about that, I have to read the last issue that just came out, and I have to read, I think there's one more to really tell you how I feel about that, because I think it's a cool idea, the idea of, Apocalypse wanting an heir. Even though I would say, I don't think Apocalypse needs an heir on Earth. I think he should leave Earth alone. But is that going to happen? Yeah. I think, yes. This is also a thing. Holocaust does show up in it, and I was like, huh? I was like, excuse me? But that is a thing that happens, and I had to go back in my head and be like, wait a minute, but where is Holocaust? Isn't Holocaust not even alive right now, or didn't something happen with that?
I took X-Men number 1 because, like, I've been dipping in and out of some things. Like, there are some things I've read, like, I'm all caught up on, like, Resurrection Magneto and, like, certain things like that. And then there are other things that, like, I haven't read. So I just jumped into it. I'm like, okay, let's take the approach of, if you are not caught up on everything, how does this read? Like, what is this as an experience? Just like, bam, you wandered in, you're like, X-Men number 1, let's go. And, jumped into it from that vantage point. And from that vantage point, I'm, like, not the most penetrable. Like, it's not
right. You don't feel like it's the most, like, pulls you in from, like, blank slate.
It's not the most penetrable. I mean, this is definitely a thing where you need to go and, like, figure out some stuff if, like, you hadn't been keeping up. Like, why is he Professor M, and, like, a bunch of, like, other things. Like, some of the things I did know, but, like, other things I'm like, you would need, like, a little bit.
You just mean you mean more in terms of the people that have missed Krakoa.
Yes, and because like that's part of how it's being marketed, is like a From the Ashes, new era.
I felt like it was a pretty good balance of it, while like paying homage to what came before in a way that feels like we're carrying it forward, we're continuing the story, but also making it still accessible in the sense of returning some people kind of to ones, like, with Scott being the leader, and with them, having to be secluded in this base because it's like, people don't really like us. Things like that to me kind of grounded it in the idea of what X-Men is. And also it kind of had this 90s poppy kind of vibe to it. Like it just felt like very like, quick, go over here and like do this thing, and like I don't know how to put that into words, but that
No, I
to
know what
me
you're
was the
trying to say. It's like
familiarity that I
you're
liked.
trying to see like the energy, because it did feel like it was trying to like reclaim some
Yeah,
of that.
classic X-Men energy. That's
And
completely
for me,
it.
I feel like that's kind of where it was losing me. I felt kind of like, well, to me, I was like, well, are we restarting or are we committing to continuing? Was kind of like
Right. So you feel
the
that's like
vibe.
a conflict.
I didn't feel like they meshed perfectly. I was kind of like, well, because if we're continuing, we're continuing. That's fine. Like, like
Yeah.
let's continue. Or are we now trying to be like, no, we're like fresh? And I'm kind of like, well, to me, I didn't really find as much balance between the two ideas. And I think also for me, the art was good. I don't think it was bad as much as people are like going on about Beast, but it had a different vibe to it
Yeah.
that I'm not sure if it worked for me personally for it. Like
But
like
you think with
Scott looks
because of
so young.
everything that's come, well, yeah, but that's just the design. Like that's
Like the
just Otley.
design for me,
So
it
you're
felt
not so
like
you might not be here for the art in terms of just how it fits the vibe.
in terms of yeah, because to me it makes it feel like okay, like they're trying to make it feel like a reset even in the art wise as well, but then the plot's continuing forward. So I'm just like, I'm not sure. Like I need to see. Let me give it some time. Let me give it some issues
Yeah.
to cook. Let's see how it goes.
My dog says Beast with his two black eyes.
Well, okay, but they're trying to call back. Like Beast,
That's
they're
what I
trying to
was
do like
saying.
they're trying to
That's
do
what I
a
was saying
call
in
back.
Vibe when I talked about it. Yes, yeah.
Like I get it. I get what they're trying to do, but the thing is that the body build's different. So like, because when Beast has that look in the classic look, he's a lot bulkier and
Yeah.
like
Well, I mean,
beastier.
it's also the combination of styles, I think, as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think it's jarring for people. For me, it was jarring for like the first couple panels, and then I was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is like a classic thing. They're just doing it in
Mm-hmm.
like a different style art. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that is also kind of jarring because it's like, well, that's not what that looks like at all. Like,
See, and that's the thing. And the thing is that for me, I'm like, it's not bad. Like I would never be like, oh, ew, ugly, bad. I'm just like, for me, I'm just like, it just wasn't matching like the style personally. But I'm like, we shall see.
yeah, I
I'm
like
like,
Otley's art, so I'm pretty excited for it in general.
mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's very stylized, and so
It's
I
also a
think like
different
everyone, it's gonna take me a while to feel it out
it's
for
a
sure
different
and see if I
vibe for
really like
segment
it.
too. So it's gonna be interesting. Like to
Yeah,
see. Like
yeah. Oh yeah,
but
sorry,
I'm
is
like
it Stegman that's doing the
this
art?
one's
Am I saying
segments
Otley?
on this one.
Sorry, Ryan Stegman's on this one. My apologies, I misspoke. Ignore what I said before. Don't clip that. Um, don't clip that.
I never know how to feel when I get clipped. I'm like, oh my gosh, a clip because you're like YouTube tells you.
Oh yeah, they're like someone made a clip of this, and you're like, ah, yeah. Is Ryan Otley doing anything, or am I imagining this? Is he doing anything X-Men? I don't think so. I think I imagined that. I think
But
that's
the one
a
that I'm
lie.
like waiting for, I'm like chomping at the bit for like X Factor. I'm like
X Factor. X Factor is X Factor is gonna be weird. Yeah. Is gonna be Chemdog says no, he isn't. All right, so never mind. Pretend I said nothing. Actually, don't pretend I said nothing. I'll admit that I completely misspoke when I was calling Stegman's art Otley's art. My apologies. Yeah, I feel like X Factor is going to be an interesting one. I think it could be good, but it
it
could
could
be.
be, but part of me
I
hopes
want
that
it
it
to be
sets
my
phasers to
Hellions.
cringe. So
Oh, you want it to be cringe? I don't want it to be cringe.
I
I
don't
want
want
it to
it
be
to be
my
cringe, but I'm
Hellions or
just
my X
saying
Corp.
like
That's what I
good
want.
or cringe. Can those be my options?
Good or
I'm like
cringe? Yeah. If it's
anything
bad,
but
you just want it to at
boring.
least be cringe. Yeah. I hope
If
it's
it's
not. Oh
like
God,
I
I
just
agree
want to
with
be
you.
entertained. Like
If it's boring, I'm gonna cry. That would make me so sad if it was boring. At least if it's cringe, it's like, well, at least it's
I can
interesting.
I can have fun in a different way, but like
Yeah.
boring, there's nothing you can do with. You're just like
I would just feel bad if Angel was boring because I feel like he's been boring so much.
that would be
Like,
such a shame. That would be a
please just
travesty.
let him get to do something like interesting for a bit. And I feel like X Factor is a really cool team, and I kind of like how this feels like classic X Factor
Mhm.
vibes. I think that's really cool, but it also kind of depends on what direction they take it in. I would say that and Sentinels are like the two books that I'm the most like. I'm very curious to see how
I'm
this
very curious
goes.
about Sentinels. That was a bit of a curveball. I'm like, but I'm intrigued though.
I think it's such a weird idea to do at this point in terms of everything that's happening. And I'm like, so that could be really good because it might be saying something really interesting, or it could be really bad because it could really just not be in line with anything. So we'll have to see. But also, they did say something that I think is interesting about the current X-Men stuff that's coming is that each book is going to be like a different tone, like its own thing. Like, they're like, if things don't feel like they're connected, that's intentional. We want it to kind of feel like each book is its own thing. And so each person has a book that they can go for. So if you're not into this kind of book, we got another book for you.
See, like I'm never sure about that. So for me, it feels
That's
like
how I feel about that.
To me personally, that feels like it's pulling in the opposite direction of where I feel like DC is pulling. Even though the direction that DC is pulling, and some people, it's not their favorite thing, where they're like, okay, guys, synergy, the things like together that can, like, do you see a Waller over here? She's also over here, and she's over here, and she's in the animated show and all that, and we're synergizing, and like the books are tying back together again, and we're hinting that we're gonna really reconnect the multiverse. And like for a canon like nerd like me, I'm like, yes, I'll get a cork board, like, you know, it's fine.
Yeah, I see. I feel kind of mixed about it because everything's been so interconnected for so long. I've been spoiled with my Krakoa stuff, and especially early Krakoa. Like, I remember Ten of Swords, and we collected every single book in Ten of Swords so that we could read them all, because like each book, it was like classic events where you had to read like a bajillion just books to get the full event, because each one is like a chapter. And some people were like, I hate this so much, and I was like, I'm reading everything, so I love this so much, because it was like all of the time I put in, all of the hard work, it
You were
had
rewarded.
finally paid off. Yeah. And I could understand every element of Ten of Swords between myself and Duck, who was reading the other half of Ten of Swords. So between both of us, it was like we had every piece of information. So I feel like that can be really nice. However, I do think
I understand the approach. I do
wanting to get everyone in, especially at the ground floor, like it can be
for
overwhelming.
For me, it's the tonal thing. For me, like, it's the idea of like, well, this one's going to be really serious, but like this one's going to be really dark, and like, and I'm just kind of like, so because to me that's a bit different than every book just feeling like its own like separate story. Because I'm like, well, that's kind of different. Like how
well,
much
I don't
of a
know
vibe
if they said
difference are we
specifically
going?
tonal. I think they said like they're going to be separate in the way that they're each going to be doing their own thing, kind of vibe. So I don't know if it'll be like this one's like the scary book, and this. I mean, I kind of am already getting that sense with. I don't know if you've been reading the Infinity comic, but the Infinity comic feels like it's like a little horror comic from the Ashes one. And then X-Men felt very 90s. So I mean, I guess it depends on like what the next thing is.
It's because I've also been reading like Tom Brevoort's like blog, A Man with a Hat. So and just like some of the ways that canon's been discussed there have been interesting, and like I'm already starting to see that like trickle in to the approach to the X line. So like I'm very curious as how that's going to play out long term.
Yeah, so I think like it could be good, or it could be just disjointed, and I won't like that. Like I need a bit of connective tissue. I don't need a lot, but I need something. And
that's the thing. I'm like, you for me, I'm like, I want some connection, but you don't want it to be at the point where it's, you know, like, oh, but like in this book he was sitting on a chair, and in this book he's sitting on a couch, and I can't read that. So it's like, you don't want to be like, you don't want to get to that point.
That's true. Baddest Page, thank you so much for resubscribing over on Twitch. 18 months you've been subscribed. Wow, thank you so much. Also, the fact that you used your Prime here, you get one, and you chose to use it here, means a lot to me, so I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. DiCarlo is asking, Annihilation, Sasha?
Oh, what about it?
I don't know. Did I miss something? I don't think so. I think that's the question. DiCarlo, explain. You mean well, some people are talking about Annihilation 2099 in the chat. I don't know if that's what DiCarlo was referring to though. Have you got to it? Annihilation 2099? Which Annihilation? 2099.
Oh, 2099. I have not.
Yeah, I haven't either, but I've been hearing good things. My chat talks about it a lot. Should I read this, guys? Should I be reading this? 2099, the return of 2099. I guess Ultimate, they were like, let's bring that back. Let's bring everything back. Everything's going to be cool again. Multiverse. Which I'm here for. I like 2099. But I hope
parts
they
of
don't do it
2099
too much. Yeah. Is this a new 2099, by the way, guys? Is it fresh? Or is it like they're just going back to the last one? Nova says Ryan North Fantastic Four has been a pretty good read. I started Ryan North Fantastic Four, and I loved it. And then
it's been trucking along, doing its thing.
I took my year off from collecting the big two.
And you just didn't come back?
I haven't come back yet, but I'm going to come back because every time I see a cover and every time I hear what's going on, I'm like, gosh darn it, that sounds so fun. I just want to read it. I know that it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I really love Ryan North just bringing Fantastic Four to like this like fun family adventures kind of vibe. I think that's fun. I liked his little like, this is what the Fantastic Four is in this book, and this is what it represents to me and what I'm going to be doing. That he put at the back.
No, I do appreciate that he put his mission statement. Like, right, he was like, "This is what this is."
Shared that before you got into a book of like, you know, this is what we're going to be focusing on here. That'd actually be really informative. That would help you figure out, like, is this a book for me?
No, it would be nice to know that. It's like, oh, it's going there, like yes or no.
8-Bit Victor is asking about Star Trek Prodigy. Do you Star Trek, Sasha?
I do Star Trek, but I have not seen the newest season of Star Trek Prodigy.
I didn't even know Star Trek Prodigy was a thing until I saw panels about it. And then I was like, oh, this looks really good.
There is actually a lot of Star Trek right now. There's a lot of trekking across the universe.
With all the Trek. I've just been reading the comics. So people will start talking to me about the show and like, have you seen Strange New Worlds yet? And I'm like, no, but I know I need to watch it. And everyone's like, how have you not seen any of these things? And I'm like, because
I think you'd like
reading Star Trek comics. I think I would too. It's based on, I know it's kind of supposed to be bringing back those classic vibes. And anyone that knows me with Star Trek knows I'm a TOS fan through and through. I love the original series. That's my favorite. So, and everything that I saw with Captain Pike for me, like, Discovery made me like hope.
I always wanted a Pike series since I was young and saw the original like Menagerie episodes and stuff, and just you got to see Pike around. And then when I got older and learned the details about like the pilot and the series that wasn't and all that, so I was just so intrigued and fascinated. Like, so for years, and then I'm like, oh my god, they're doing it's Pike time.
It's Pike time. Pike is here. Yeah, I really enjoyed Pike in Discovery, so I was pretty excited when they announced they were going to do that. And then also they were like, also it's going to be like this very classic feeling show. I was like, everything I want. Everything that in some ways I would say Discovery has not been for people, although I have liked parts of Discovery, but yes. I feel like Strange New Worlds would be more my vibe.
Discovery is not my favorite. I definitely like Strange New Worlds better, Picard better. I would say like Strange New Worlds. I wouldn't say it's entirely TOS vibes because I'd say the one thing that's different is that the new writers, none of them have really captured the level of professionalism that the old school shows have when it comes to the way Starfleet feels. And I feel like you need some of that kind of like gravitas and the fact that you are operating in a kind of like militaristic system, even though they don't admit that that's what it is. But like, but it does have a bit more of a like Gen Z-ish vibe sometimes when they're talking to each other.
People are like a little bit more laid back, like a little bit more like
they're a bit
looser than TNG, or like that level of like chill.
They're a bit looser than TNG, even TOS. Okay. Like they're just a bit looser. And I'm like, I don't love that, but I don't hate it because the characters have good chemistry and like the actors have good chemistry. So like it's still really fun. But it's just like
so
from like a
purist show.
No, but like from a purist standpoint, I'm like, I would like a tiny bit more like this is gonna be a really weird statement, but like as a child watching Star Trek, I really admired how professional they were, and like it just this fantasy of like, ooh, one day you'll be an adult and people will be like professional and get along. I'm like, it's not true, but like I liked it.
I mean, I would definitely agree with that vibe, and I think that TOS is fun in the sense that it's like when we work, like we work, but then when people are like just hanging out, then they get a hangout. But it's not like you get a hangout at work. Like that's not
There's not a separation.
The TOS way. There's a
bit of a
divide.
Separation.
And yeah, I think in modern Star Trek, that divide has like diffused. And it is weird when you go back into a series that like is set in the time period where we've established there was this divide, and now it's like, we're just kind of hanging out at work. And I'm like,
But the
we
thing
don't
is,
hang
like,
out at work, but all right.
but the thing is, like, Stranger Worlds has some really strong moments. Like, when it hits and goes
Yeah,
hard, it goes really
it's-
hard, and it's like,
okay.
so
I'm excited about that. Yeah, I've honestly only heard like really good things about Strange New Worlds.
it's fun.
So I haven't finished Picard either. I have to go back and finish Picard.
Where are you at with that?
I watched season 1 and 2.
Mm.
There's one more season, right? Season 3.
3. Mm.
Yeah, so that's the one I haven't watched yet. But
I think
really
3
wanna
was
go
my
back and do
favorite,
that.
like, of them.
Really?
Although,
Cool.
you know, I love Q, so I'm always a fan for like a good like.
Yeah, Q's always a good time. I agree with that. But yeah, the problem I have was I haven't watched Lower Decks. I've only seen parts of Lower Decks, and I also and then Shax shows up in the Day of Blood event. They have a 1-issue comic that I think was actually written by Ryan North. Speaking of Ryan North, that's called don't quote me. Let's not have another Stegman Otley situation. And it's called Shax's Best Day Ever, and it's a tie-in, but it's like one of those tie-ins that you really don't need to read this like at all for anything. It's just like everything that Shax was doing when he shows up at the end, and he's like, I fixed like I have the one thing we need to like get this ship running right now after you guys worked really hard to build everything back up. And where he's been, because he's there at the beginning of the event, and then he kind of just shows back up at the end. And it's just ridiculous, and it's all done in the animation style of the show of Lower Decks. And it's really fun because otherwise, when you see Shax is in the story, he is like just drawn in the style of the comics, so he's like very like serious and tough looking. And then you just go into like this one little interlude where he's just back as like a cartoon guy, but like messing everyone up. Shax's Best Day Ever is fantastic amusing streamer. It is a I would say a highly recommended read, whether you're familiar with Lower Decks or not. I feel like everyone can enjoy it. But that's just my pitch. But yeah, so I want to get back into all that stuff though. I want to get back into all there is a lot of Star Trek stuff though.
The thing is
Star
that
Trek
like
stuff, Star Wars stuff,
there's just
all
so
the
much
stars.
stuff.
There's too much stuff. I was like thinking about it, and like right now, like tonight, House of the Dragon. I gotta watch House of the Dragon. I'm watching The Boys. I'm so behind. I haven't even started my Boys reviews. It's about to end. I haven't had time to breathe, but I've been following it. I've been watching all of it. Just in case you're wondering, I haven't talked about it, but there's something
You're on it.
I'm on it. And what else is happening right now? The Acolyte's about to end, so I've been following along with that one. And then also Suicide Squad Isekai. That's a lot. Like, guys, hold your horses. And then also everything that's happening in comics.
Like August is gonna be stacked. Like I'm already looking at August. I'm
this
like,
month
oh my
is also
God.
going to be stacked because how many series start in like the next few days? Aren't we getting what's his name? Hitmonkey and Kite Man as well this month?
Yeah, I think so. Because isn't there like a Kite Man panel at SDCC as well?
There is.
Like,
it's on my schedule. I saw that and I was like, I must go. Although I'm not up to date on Harley Quinn the animated series, and I want to get up to date before the show comes out. But...
like it's about to do the 5th season. Like my gosh.
Wow. How do they keep it going? That's what I want to know. I'm very curious to catch back up and see how I feel about the longevity of the show, because I was waning a little bit when I kind of dipped out. But I'm hoping that they can bring me back around because I really like Harley Quinn the animated series. I think it's really fun. Someone is asking, Xanthfan is asking, how does 7 of 9 not have her own show?
7's great.
7's great. I will say, if you have the Star Trek Pride issue, 7 of 9 is in one of the stories, and it's also like one of my favorite stories in that issue. So we get some 7 of 9 in there, and I really loved it. Star Trek Pride also was the best Pride this year. I wanted to do a video on this, but it's too late, and I may never get to say it. So I'm just going to say it right now.
You're going to say it here right now?
Just going to say it right here, right now. I read DC Pride, Marvel Pride, and Star Trek Pride. Star Trek Pride was my favorite one. It was really good.
I think I'd agree with that. I read them all too.
Yeah. Because you know what? Because it wasn't like, oh no, like it's hard being queer. It was like just people that are gay, like living their lives. I was like, I love this. This is just a spotlight on the characters. I mean, I like covering as well those harder stories in terms of queerness. I think it's still really important. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
It's just more like when every story kind of feels like it's that in some way, it can become like a little heavy. And I'm like, it'd be
Well,
nice to celebrate
it
a
also
little.
feels sometimes like you're getting into like what they sometimes call like emotion porn, like,
Yeah.
territory at
And it gets
times.
into that sense of like sometimes kind of that pandering vibe of like, oh, is this
Mhm.
authentic? Like sometimes I worry about that. But
Mhm.
although I did really, of course, love the wedding of Mystique and Destiny, I thought that was pretty great and pretty hilarious in the end. Um, yeah. Kite Man is based such a Chad.
Chad man.
KO Joe, I would agree. Kite Man is based and also such a Chad. Did you read the Monster High Pride comic? I did not. Monster High had a Pride
I was
comic?
gonna say I did not know that that was a thing.
I'm glad you've told me about this troubled mime. I might have to track it down. I didn't know. I didn't know. Are there any other Pride comics I missed? Tell me all of them because I want to make sure I have a full collection. This is important to me. Amusing Streamer is also saying for Harley Quinn they've survived 3 streaming services.
It's true.
It's pretty crazy. That's how you know you got a good show when you can be passed here and there and still keep going.
It's like 12:30.
I was going to say we should probably go to bed, or do other work, which might be
It's
what
so
both of
bad.
us are.
I know it's so bad that like I know I'm also thinking about doing other work, which is terrible. Like we should sleep.
We should sleep. We should sleep. We should sleep, or we should do other work. One of those two things. Probably sleep. But yeah, time flies when you're having fun. This is very true, Chemdog. Time flies indeed. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. This was so fun. Thank you for coming on to talk to me, Sasha, about
That was a
Deadpool
great
Samurai.
time.
It was a good one. It was a good one. You will be able to find Sasha over on her channel, Casually Comics. It is fantastic. Do yourself a favor, follow, subscribe. If you don't already, what are you doing with your life? Don't be a fool. Go and do it.
That was intense.
And yes, well, I'm very passionate about your content. I think it's very good. And I think everyone should watch it. And if they're not watching it, what are you doing? Wake up. Yes. Is there anything that you would like to hype that's coming out soon? What are you working on, Sasha?
I'm working on the Gotham Butcher, the video that nobody asked for, but it's going to be fun. And also, I'm hopefully going to have some more interviews coming up soon in the coming weeks, which are going to be fun as well. And just as always, more whims taking us places and punchlines coming out in August, so that's going to be fun as well.
Punchline is going to be really interesting.
Yes.
I'm excited to see what we do, where we go. Where do we go next? So hopefully somewhere good. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed checking out Deadpool Samurai. I'm probably going to check out Volume 2, so maybe we'll be back to talk about Volume 2. I don't know. Sasha, would you want to read Volume 2 after reading Volume 1?
Oh, I'm definitely going to read Volume 2. Volume 1 was a good time.
Well, then maybe we'll chat next month or at some point in the near future about Volume 2 here on the channel. But also make sure you go follow Sasha. I'm sure at some point we'll also be doing something over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be back here. When am I back here? Oh, yeah. 9
in a few
a.m.
hours.
tomorrow. Yeah. 9 a.m. tomorrow. I should maybe sleep. But I'm going to try to be back here 9 a.m. tomorrow. You know me, though. Sometimes I'm always late. And I know that you all know and you still love me. So thank you. But yeah, we're going to be doing a little co-work stream for a few hours. So if you want to join me, come to a Pomodoro. Come just have relaxing vibes. It's where we work for 20 minutes. And then we do 5 minutes of a break where we chat. And then also if you donate to the stream, then sometimes our breaks become a little longer if you want to chill a little longer. And I'm going to be working on lots of stuff because I have too many things to work on. And then I'll be back on Wednesday at 8 a.m. Wow, Amanda, 8 a.m.? Okay. Wednesday at 8 a.m. where we're going to be playing Bandle Tale, a League of Legends story. And then Thursday at 6 p.m. where we're going to be playing Man of Medan with Lucy. So come back and check those out. That's everything for me. Any parting words? Chimichanga?
Oh, Chimichanga. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, whatever you're doing, and just check out whatever you're interested in.
Yeah, go read some books, guys. And until next time, stay under you. We'll see you later.
See ya.
Bye.